huge push for electric vehicles, and so I think one can argue that with higher folks, consumers buying electric vehicles, I mean, they can't sell the oil at the same prices, and that would also affect how much oil they're producing, because they don't have they're a fraction of those cars that they were selling to for oil. People buying other forms of energy vehicles with running on other alternative energy.
Yeah, that's also right. So you got to also see that oil prices were rising since Donald Trump took to office. So there was an expectation from the market that he is business friendly and so forth. That was the theme that the market was looking at. And then since he started to have these sort of trade wars and trade barriers, initially the market actually thought that it's just a negotiation tool. He's not going to actually do it, but he is serious about it. And as he actually implements these things, all of these things are telltale signs of what is about to come. So none of these things, people are actually fools. And so there's a collective wisdom in the market. When you look at the market, the group of people actually deciding and thinking that this is what's going to happen. And there is a wisdom in the stock market. So oil prices is dropping. That indicates that the demand is going to be lower. And coupled with tariff, there's going to be increase in the prices of goods where you purchase in the United States and elsewhere in the world as well. So, which means that you're not going to be able to consume these things because of higher prices. So you're going to have higher prices, and as a result of it, you're going to have a stagnant economy, which is not good for people. And the people who are going to be affected by these, it is the poor people and the middle class also. The rich people would be affected in terms of their share prices.
We know it. You said it yourself like 10 times already. We know what a market is. We know how tariffs are going to affect the poor people. You yourself said it. Can we,
at the University of Arizona,
have a to-the-point conversation to Steve's point on the number of oil rigs?
Well, let me just say one thing too. This tariff stuff is not like a 6-week return. The dimensions involved here obviously are economic, but you have political dimensions involved with this. You got supply chains and all the other things that come around with it. Now, something this complex and you throw into it, a disruption into a world market with multiple countries, different forms of government, different economies, this is not going to shake out quick. So anyone that looks at this and says, well, 2 months of this and I can tell you where it's going, they're either being disingenuous or they're just not understanding what could happen here. This is high-stakes poker, and the high-stakes poker that Donald Trump is playing here is we have the number one consumer market for buying stuff in the world. That, in his mind, gives him leverage. Now, the leverage that he's exerting because of that economic ace in the hole that he's holding here is what he thinks he can cut better deals with. And that could take anywhere from 2, it might take 6. We might even see 9 months before we see this oscillation and shaking out, fully finding its bottom. So 1 month, 2 months, you don't know where this is going.
Well, does it concern you, Steve? Because you might lose your retirement if you have any, if it's going to go for 9 months. Jesus fucking Christ, I'm very sorry.
Yeah, but that's also another thing. So now we don't see that in hard data. So these effects are actually being, there's a lag between what's happening, and then now you're going to see that in hard data in terms of people getting laid off and so forth. There will be a reaction from that within the market as these data filters in. And then the Federal Reserve, that would be the time that the Federal Reserve would start to act. And these are the times that the Federal Reserve would be starting to cut the interest rate in order to stimulate the unemployment and all of that effects that is going to be about to come and to unfold.
I think it's going to be of a cut, right? Because if you have a stagflation scenario and the Fed's main mandate, I mean, there's multiple mandates, but one of the main mandates would be to moderate inflation, right? You can be in a scenario where you're just in a protracted, like, declining demand environment, right? You know, just a long-term recession to the system. So
yeah, you're right. So this is a very difficult time for the Federal Reserve. On one hand, you have higher prices, and on the other hand, you have unemployment. So which one would you prioritize? So this is what the stagflation is. So Federal Reserve is going to be in a very tricky position now.
They clearly communicated that they are not going to be prioritizing employment already. And that is correct, they're constrained by the tariffs.
It's hard to say now. We have to wait for the news of. I think they will try and stimulate the economy. I don't know to be honest. But and this is the dilemma. On one hand, you have higher prices. So if you try to stimulate the economy, then the prices goes up. But on the other hand, the other mandate is about employment. So yeah, which one as a Federal Reserve you prioritize, that remain to be seen.
Did you watch the Powell speech yesterday or the day before?
I did. I certainly did. Yes. Yeah. I mean,
he clearly not is in a favor of at this moment stimulating the economy and considering the employment part of the mandate. I agree that he's in a bind, but like. What Federal Reserve Chair would at this moment, given the constraints that he's in, stimulate the economy?
Right. He has to see the hard data. As unemployment increase, then he has to do something. And then at the same time, this is the bind. At the same time, the interest rates are, the prices of goods are higher. So that is an incredibly tricky situation. At this moment, nobody would want to wish to be the Federal Reserve. So it's going to be very challenging.
Well, he could do this. He could simply stand pat and see where this oscillation in the market bottoms out to. Does it bottom out to where there's more investment coming in? Does it bottom out to where there's increased trade war? We don't know. And to say that the Fed on 3 weeks worth of data should be making long-term economic policy, I think them understanding what it's play here too. If you didn't understand the dynamics of what was at play, and there was like a year of market data to drive the decision, maybe. But you're talking about the Fed changing policy on a month of data. That makes absolutely no sense.
No, I didn't say that. When the data comes, so all these uncertainties and so forth, and slowing down of the economy, which means that people are going to lose jobs, and that data is going to filter through. And also the sales of goods. So as with a higher tariff, Apple won't be able to sell much iPhones as they have. So the investors in these companies, they demand higher return for their investment. And if they can't, then on the one hand, the stock market keeps on tumbling down. And on the other hand, you have also people who don't have jobs, layoffs and things like that. So if you don't stimulate, then you run the risk of the entire market is actually keep on going down. But the other option is as you stimulate the economy, then the prices keeps on going up. So this is the bind that the Federal Reserve is in. So it's a very tricky situation for them.
Yeah, but you're assuming a worst case scenario here. We've already seen that Vietnam, I'm not sure if it's prime minister or president or what the designation they put on there earlier in Vietnam. He's already contracted Trump, and they're in negotiations right now trying to see how they can shape the difference in inbound and outbound trade between the two companies. This could be, because we really don't know, the start of the dominoes that start falling, and it could find its bottom quicker, or it may take longer. We just don't know. But to project out that all these things are going to have catastrophic consequences without knowing how this is going to shake out, I think it's a little foolish.
Right, despite
We've
what it
seen
is,
the opposite.
yeah.
Reaction
Yeah.
from China. We're going to see
Right,
the
right,
opposite
right.
reaction from the European Union.
Yeah,
We've seen
I think
the opposite demeanor from Canada.
Boy,
Right.
Do you not?
But you can't bring Vietnam in because
Mr. Speak. Yeah, can you? Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
I was just
Go ahead.
saying I think it's interesting to focus on Vietnam when there was tariffs imposed on a whole swath of countries, and some of which have not. The most important trading partners have actually, if they haven't already had a negative response, are signaling that they're going to have some type of reciprocal response.
Right, that's right. So because the reason is because Vietnam is much more of a smaller country, and then they already have like tariffs in place. So whereas when you have countries that they have more of a free trade agreement and much larger bloc like European Union. So Brussels have the advantage of having all of these countries that it represents. They are able to do certain things, but despite of their coming out with their tariff policies against this thing, without that thing, there is already certain amount of damage. But if European Union were to retaliate even further, you could expect even much more of an effect in the economy.
Yeah, but you're talking about China there. Do you not think China, their economy is built on the idea of exporting what they make? That the biggest export market in the world that they export to would not give a certain amount of leverage to cut a deal with them?
No. China already have in the past, they have been diversifying and becoming less reliant on the United States. They've been actually trading much more within the Asian country. That reflected in the stock market. So European stock market fell, United States stock market fell, the Chinese stock market is still holding up. So, but yeah, the thing with like Vietnam and so forth, even if Vietnam decides that they want to lower their tariff, well, China has actually bypassed the first Donald Trump's tariff by moving some of his factories and so forth to other regions. So even if Vietnam wants to do that, well, if it does agree with that, well, China sort of wins by able to supply from Vietnam into the United States.
Do you really think Thailand and Indonesia is the same market for China to sell to versus the United States? You really don't see a difference?
There's a lot of complexity here. Like the global trade network is really complicated, right? So what Donald Trump is doing, imposing these tariffs like 10%, like Antarctica. As far as we know, that nobody actually lives there. What has the penguins and the seals have done to Donald Trump?
Well, I would say Steve's questions kind of reflect something I said earlier, where the idea is that, we're levying these tariffs against them, and because we're the largest market, they're going to have to do something. I think it misses the fact, that sort of mentality misses the fact that the tariffs, one, are going to be paid for by American producers, right? The companies like the Walmarts, the Apples that have to take these things from the port, number one. Number two, because these are American producers that are having to pay the higher prices, it's also American business people who are going to suffer from these tariffs. Not just, not some random guy in China or random factory owner in China. This is a broadside not just against the Chinese economy, but American entrepreneurs.
Yeah,
because
but that's
Americans are going to suffer as well. So I say that to say this.
Well,
Yes, Trump has some degree of leverage, but his leverage is greatly diminished by the fact that his own voters and his own donors are going to be under a lot of pressure because of these tariffs.
Yeah, but that's everything you described's front end effect. As you go down farther, and like I reiterated, this is not a 6-week game we're playing here. You may have some damage on the front end, but if you come out on the back end with more open markets for our products that we have to be competitive around the world, we get the imbalances in the trade offset a little bit. We get more production in the United States because they got better access to markets on the back end. It'll be better. So yeah, there may be something up front, but we don't know on the back end where this lands. No one does, and if they do, it's wild speculation.
But the idea of causing the disruption, the way that we're going about it, is the problem. I mean, the vision, okay, yeah, this sounds great, but is there another way to have done it, to have gone about doing it, other than, I'm just going to slap this person, this tariff on this person, and on this country and this country? You don't see the problem in that? Causing the people that you actually trade with to not trust you, to cause an uproar, to cause a war?
I'll tell you what I've seen a problem with. We become an hourglass
Can you
economy.
answer that question first?
Yeah, I will.
The question is either yes, you see a problem with it, or no, you don't see a problem with it. And
No,
then
because sometimes when you do a paradigm shift in the way you do business, you have to do it in a way that makes people stand up and pay attention. Now,
okay,
is
so
that
you
the
don't
most
see a
effective?
problem with it. You don't see a problem with it. Okay, go ahead.
I'm just saying. Well, I'm saying this. I've watched since the early 80s, men and women have their livelihoods just decimated while multinational corporations run to the cheapest markets in the world. And we don't seem to have a problem with the little kids over in Africa mining cobalt. We don't have a problem with the Uyghurs over in China. That's basically
Uyghurs.
The Uyghurs.
Uyghurs. Don't say Uyghurs. That sounds...
Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry, I pronounced it wrong, but you know what I'm talking about. It's a Muslim population.
I didn't know.
Can you spell it?
Well, it's a Muslim population. Basically, it's being used for slave labor. We don't have a problem with that as long as we can get our iPhones a little bit cheaper. That's cool. But the idea, there's a small town from where I live. Within the last 50 years, it went from a vibrant little town to losing 3 factories and it's become basically a crap hole because there's no work. People's running around working at gas stations, working at Walmart, and while they're sitting there doing that, the town's going to hell. When I lived down in North Carolina, the textile industry in the early 80s was just taken out. These were hundreds of people. Now, we have all this concern, but since the 80s, as we've allowed multinational corporations to gut our working families, no one cared about them. I'm still making a good living. Joe, he lost his job down at Black & Decker. Well, good luck, Joe. I'm going to keep buying this cheap stuff, and I'm going to make my money go as far as I can while you get gutted. And while the multinationals send everything offshore looking for the cheapest, I worked for a Fortune 100 company. We had a decision one time to go into Asia and start trying to acquire market share. We could either put our plant in Australia, or we could have put it in Indonesia. We put it in Australia because we didn't base the environmental controls. We could expose the workers to whatever we wanted to. We could dump the crap right in the waters. Australia, you couldn't do that. So guess what? They put it in Indonesia for those factors. Those factors, they didn't face any kind of environmental controls. They could expose their workers and, hey, sorry you got cancer, but good luck. Come on in, Joe. You're taking this place.
I don't know what you're saying right now. Are you guys following this?
No, I got an answer for him. I do have an answer for him. I know the reason why he feels that way. This is exactly what has allowed Donald Trump to actually come into power. So you have to take a bit of a look into history. So we've been here before. So in the late 1800, you had Carnegie and the Rockefellers, right? So they were able to monopolize the industry, and therefore nobody else could come into the market. So after that, you had the Great Depression, and following that Great Depression, then you had the New Deal, which meant that corporations were split up, and the corporation tax was 40%, somewhere around there, 40 or 45%, somewhere around there. And then also wealth tax, which was 90%. So after a certain bracket, you have to pay much as 90% of it. So which was very, very high. So that led to after the Second World War, everything was decimated, well, especially in Europe, but America wasn't touched by it. So what led to the 1950s? One second. Between 1950 and 1970, you had a booming middle class because there were factories and so forth, less automations and so forth. Therefore, it required people to work in factories. That meant also education. Government, with the taxes and so forth, they were able to educate people, which uplifted the people at the bottom and then into the middle class. So you had a booming world. So the vision that you have, it is of that 1950s and 1960s vision. And this is what Donald Trump is also seeing that. But the world has shifted. And black even if the factories are being more productive in terms of employment and labor, that has been going down. And the reason is actually because of automation and so forth. So even if you get factories back into the United States, they're going to be new factories with much more sophisticated automation. So in terms of people going to work there, that's not going to happen. Less people working in this factory. So what the feeling that you have, it is to do with Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher in England. They both actually decided to favor the corporation and decided to cut corporation tax and also to deregulate things even more. So which meant that since 1970 up until now, average people's income and their wealth has not gone up. So what you feel about Detroit and all of these things, that comes from these policies that has been implemented. And you're right, these corporations, because of profit, they have gone to other places because it's more profitable for them to move their factories and to run their factories somewhere else other than into wealthy nations like the United States, because you have to pay higher income. So if you want to be competitive in this global landscape, and if you want to sell things in the global world, they'll be able to produce things at a lower cost. That's not going to go away.
That was a long ride home, friend. I appreciate
I know. I'm just trying to explain why people are feeling this way.
I get it, but you're trying to explain something away, because at the end of the day, we're not there when it comes down to manufacturing. We just aren't. And then to try to compare to what happened post, 1800s, post before 1960, when after the war and things started going out to these other countries, we are here now. Right?
It's just a pipe dream. I'm just trying to say, it's just a pipe dream.
But hold up, you've been talking a lot. You need to drink some water. 1 second. So to underestimate the fact of the cost of manufacturing here in the States, it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. I don't see how it could benefit us from an economic standpoint. Just from the fact that the workers alone are going to cost more to fund here than it does in another country. So that alone, I just don't even see how we can make the money off of it. I'm sorry? Huh?
Y'all keep leaving out the private financial market. Like the whole time we've been talking about this
private financial market. Okay, go ahead, sir.
What the hell are you doing?
Go ahead.
The hell what? Go ahead so we can
No, go ahead, sir. No, please. Don't stay focused. Go ahead.
I am staying focused. She has something that she's not understanding.
It's okay, babe. I'm the one with the bean. So go ahead.
First lady, calm down.
Go ahead.
What was your point that you wanted?
You started talking about private.
To a better understanding of what you meant by while this conversation was going on, how the private financial market was being excluded.
Yeah.
So we wanted you to expound.
Right. Okay. So we keep on missing the private financial sector. That is the crypto market. That's your stable coins. That's your meme coins. That's the Bitcoin, Ethereum, all that. Are y'all not paying attention to that?
But that's
Okay, we are having a serious conversation.
Hold on. No. Why don't you educate us? Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Educated on what points?
On crypto. What, are you in it? Why don't you tell us about it and how it's going to transform the economy? I want to hear what.
You don't know the name of your God.
No, I haven't written the text. No, I have not written the text.
Yeah, but you should know the name of your God. It's supposed to be your creator, right? Isn't that a problem? Wouldn't that be kind of retarded if you're creating the religion? But I don't know if that's an accepted word nowadays. But if you're creating the religion whereby you don't know the name of the creator, then that's kind of backwards, right? What's the concept for creation?
So I asked ChatGPT what God's name is and what are his powers, and he said in Solara, which is the name of the new religion, it's not about a figure above, but a living force from within. I'm sorry?
I said, of course, it said.
Okay, I don't know why you'd say of course.
Well, living force from within what? ChatGPT or within the man?
Yeah, within you.
How do you know that?
Because ChatGPT told me so.
The same way that you'd know that God is your creator.
Do you see you have serious flaws when you're thinking?
What are the flaws?
Well, you're coming up with something on the fly to replace societal religions which you live around. You live within a Christian country, right?
I live in a country where the majority of people are Christian. The country itself isn't Christian.
So why don't you move to a Muslim country?
There's no poker there.
What about a Jewish like Israel? Why don't you move to Israel?
The poker there is sparse.
That's not true. All they do is gamble.
Let me look up how many poker places they have in Israel. Give me a second.
Or a Hindu country. Hindu country would be great for them. They love
Yeah,
gambling.
I mean that'd be sick.
Actually, their whole religion is the fraud of the gambler.
Let me check. Israel. Let's see how many poker places they got in Israel.
Well, didn't they create Las Vegas?
Did Israel create Las Vegas? No, Israel did not create Las Vegas. There are some poker places. This is cool.
Mo Green was Jewish, wasn't he?
I mean, they do have some casinos. I'm looking up Israel. Israel has some decent poker rooms. It looks like this is kind of cool. The Taba Casino.
You should move there. I mean, it's a godless country. You can make up whatever you want over there.
I can make up whatever I want here too.
But you get locked up for it. So I mean, like,
I get locked up in the United States.
Consent laws? Yeah. Wouldn't you be worried about the age of consent laws and stuff like that?
In the United States, why would I be worried about that?
Because you're creating your own religion. I mean, what's your age of consent? I mean, you're not going with a Christian age of consent, are you? You're going with your own age of consent, just like everybody else. What's your age of consent?
I'd probably go with 18. I think that'd be fine.
So you're following the Christian dynamic? Why are you doing that? Do you believe that the Christian dynamic of I guess, relations with another gender is superior?
Is there scripture on the age of 18 being the age of consent? I'm not even sure that's a Christian thing.
Numbers 20, then we cross-reference with the book of Jubilee. So you'll find that most women are virgins until the age of 20 when they're married.
Things can't get better. Remember, Jesus Christ rose from his darkest hour to live in
So, okay.
So you just said 18, right? So why do you believe that the Christian dynamic is better or superior than all others? All the other religions say is as soon as the girl starts bleeding, or sometimes before she starts bleeding, what you feel like. Why are you taking the Christian still?
I don't think it's Christian. I don't think it's a Christian standpoint.
Who else espouses the same standard?
Some cultures. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think this is a. I haven't really thought this one through, but I'd be happy to just say.
Chat GPT, bro. Go get it on Chat GPT. You got your AI right there.
Oh, let's ask. Yeah, let's ask Chat GPT.
And this is what I was talking about earlier, right? When you refuse Jesus Christ as your rock, as your foundation, you're lost as an individual. You actually get into a mental illness. And now, if you see what he's doing, he's trying to make up his own religion based on Chat GPT, as though it's not propagated by people who work on the back end, just putting in little answers for him and adding in a few things here and there. Go ahead, bro. Are you still there? Are they allowing you more internet access within the padded room?
Yeah, surprisingly.
What does ChatGPT say? What does it tell you about your world? The age is just people around a couple of years.
The age of sacred consent, 18 plus. This is the recognized minimum age for fully consensual sacred union, including romantic and sexual relationships within the religious framework. Why 18? By this age, followers have completed the blooming, the spiritual rite of passage. They've received spiritual, emotional, and practical training around relational responsibility, and they're treated as adults within the lighthouses and guilds.
Wow, so even Chat GPT is referring to the Christian dynamic. Does it say which religions is ascribe to that?
It also says that Solera never overrides the civil laws of the country it's practiced in. It teaches that divine law.
Restricted. After saying that 18 is a sacred age, are you seeing that ChatGPT is being restricted because of the civil laws of the society, and it can be rectified with just programming?
To let them know like where they are and that they're ready to attack. And
It's saying that it never wants to go against the laws of the land.
So they were probably about a mile out.
Right, but if America becomes Sharia law, what happens?
And so
I mean, the laws of the land would be what, 6, 7? Would that be okay according to ChatGPT?
I don't know. Let's check it out.
The laws of the land. So you're basing a religion upon the basis of the law, and the law is based upon the preceding religion. Isn't that weird? So you're building a religion off of a religion that's already in existence? Are you just like some kind of subset, weirdo religion? What is it, bro? Are you Gnostic? You're making a Gnostic sect.
No, it's the opposite of Gnosticism.
Driving trucks.
How so, bro? I mean, you're on a Solera. I don't know, man. I don't think you're too intelligent for this conversation, bro. I want to talk to Prashant. I haven't heard Prashant in a while. He's much more intelligent.
Yeah,
he just talks about stuff as you go along. Yeah, have a great one, man. Hi, Steve. Yeah, what's happening, Prashant? You right?
Yeah, I'm good, man. How about you?
Doing fantastic, man. It just goes to show, Christ's logic supersedes all things. Here they are making a subset religion off of Christianity. They're saying Christianity is the best. ChatGPT is saying it's sacred. But if it's Sharia law, the ChatGPT says, it's sacred for Sharia law. It's like, man, what are they doing, bro?
And it's just prophecy coming true, man. All the makers of idols go into confusion to get the prices of used cars up.
That's a fact, When I start understanding how they're doing all this stuff, it's mostly like idol worship. And a lot of men trying to put their names inside the history books. I don't care about being in the history books as long as the future societies can really have discernment about the world around them, And that's why I find they're not getting a good grasp of discernment between truth and reality and fiction.
Are you in the used car business?
Yes, because they're not pointed to the right source. They're pointed in the right direction. If you think truth comes from scientific experience, I think truth comes from your own logical reasoning. If you think truth comes from some sort of private revelation you got in your own little fantasy toilet, or if you think truth comes from ChatGPT, you're already lost. You're poised on an abyss of eternal doom. Truth only comes from one place, and that's the Word of God.
Amen, brother. You know what's interesting the other day? I find that the highest level of intellectual conversations we have are really based upon Christ. All the other conversations are just like nonsense. Whenever you go through their fake science, what science do they have right now? They can't even rely on their science anymore. When I talk to them, it's like they're not keeping up with the data. I thought when you were a PhD, you were supposed to keep up with the data, right? But it seems like they're all using data from 2005, 2006. And they haven't kept up with the scientists today. So their gravity is thrown out. Their dinosaurs are thrown out. Their pyramids are thrown out, made of concrete. And it's getting to the point whereby it's like, are people really doing the research, or are they just looking to kind of control people with their supposed level of intellectual knowledge?
You're relying on science right now, Midas, to be able to converse through a cell phone.
Well, this is practical science. It's a huge difference, right? So what we have is an overwhelming amount of theoretical science, which is all collapsing in front of us, such as the round earth concept, such as the fake Native Americans, the 1850s know nothing, the third biggest political party that was mostly made up of immigrants. History itself is collapsing as far as what we knew of history. Science, as far as gravity, is now thrown out. Einstein is thrown out.
Do you believe in electricity?
We have to hold on to. Yeah, electricity is something totally different. That's practical, not theoretical.
Yeah, I'm just asking. Do you believe in electrical? Do you believe in electromagnetic forces?
Yeah, actually, you can make an electromagnet at home.
And you believe in electricity and electrical currents.
Why don't you bring one of your theoretical concepts, and then we could talk about that.
Well, I just don't know what you consider theoretical and what you consider practical, because it's different than what science considers theoretical and what science considers practical.
Dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are theoretical. Prove me wrong.
Do you believe in the electromagnetics? Do you believe in like the electromagnetic spectrum?
I'm not sure of that concept, but is it? I don't think
like
that's
visible
one
light
that's
is like
actually used for your basis. Wait, if we're going to deal with a theory or a concept, we have to deal with one that is the root or the basis of your ideology. So, electromagnetic concept, does that have to do with your ideology or your quote unquote religion of Solaro, or is it just something that you bring in the abstract?
No, this doesn't have to do with my new religion.
Okay. So what science do you have that backs your new religion?
What science do I have? This isn't the religion is meant to not. It's meant to not be scientific. It's not scientifically based. It answers questions that are not falsifiable.
So it's your imagination, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Midas. I mean, I you said you didn't want to talk to me about the religion thing. I dropped it. I didn't talk to you about it. Now here you are bringing it up again.
Yo, unicorns and rainbows, man. It's all unicorns and rainbows for these guys, man. Yo, let me ask you a question. One scientific question. What is a woman?
Like my personal opinion? I think there are two definitions used by two different groups of people currently.
Which definition would your mother fit into?
Both.
Proceed.
So when I hear a woman, I hear two different groups of people use two different definitions of a woman. There's a group of people that define a woman as a person that has female genitalia, or like, just like a vagina. And there's a group of people that define a woman as whoever identifies as a woman. And my mother both has the biological features of what is traditionally female and is also identifies as a woman. So it would meet both definitions.
Wait, hold on a second.
What if she identifies as a man?
Yo, go ahead, Prashant.
I was saying, what does identification have to do with it? What if she identifies as, what if I identify as a water bottle? What does identification do to the identity?
Yeah, that wouldn't, I don't think you'd be a water bottle, according to my definition. Because water bottles don't share that definition. I haven't heard that definition being used for water bottles in the English language.
What does it gain you to embarrass yourself on a public forum like this? Is this like I don't know, like self?
I'm just answering your question, Midas. I'm not.
No, but I mean,
I don't think it's embarrassing to answer a question.
No, I think it was kind of embarrassing because most people who say that identify as a woman have male genitalia, right? So therefore, you're equating.
No, most people that identify as women have female genitalia, Midas.
Oh, sure, this is how you
If you're saying that identify, that means that they're not originally a woman.
No, it's not true. There are plenty of women that, when they're applying for a job, they say, are you male or female? They put female. There are plenty of people when they go to a doctor's office, they have to, or like when they're doing paperwork or they're filing their taxes or whatever the fuck, they're identifying as female. Yeah.
Please don't curse on the stage. But wouldn't that be a delusion?
Seeing as it is the definition of a woman.
If they look in the mirror and they know they're not a woman, right? If a man just puts on the form, hey, I'm a lady, when he looks in the mirror every morning, he knows he's a man. Is he not lying to himself?
I think he just shares a different definition than you. He has a different definition of what a woman is than you do. You use a definition, and that's totally cool. And he just has a different definition for that word. And
So
both definitions are used in society, Midas.
So what if instead of saying he's a woman, what if he says he's let's say
a water
Oprah
bottle.
Winfrey, a fat 500-pound white guy states that he's Oprah Winfrey. He just went through surgery to get lightening and a sex change. Would you have that in society? Do you think that would be normalized within society?
Did he change his name to Oprah Winfrey? Or
Yeah,
not?
legally changed his name to Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah, then he is Oprah Winfrey. Yeah.
And can he then go around trying to get access to Oprah Winfrey's, I guess, intellectual property?
No, he wouldn't.
If he did, would he be arrested?
He'd probably be denied. Just denied.
Yeah, but impersonating a public figure, you can be arrested, right? That's a felony.
Oh yeah, like if he is trying to yeah, sure. Yeah. If he's literally trying to be Oprah Winfrey and committing identity theft, then sure, yeah, that he'd be arrested.
Right, so are men committing identity theft by claiming that they are women? And should they be charged as a felony for trying to do it?
It doesn't meet the criteria of the crime of identity theft by
the female
regendering yourself.
In the male bathrooms, I mean, they get an advantage. They also get to an advantage from DEI hiring and stuff like that, where they work in affirmative action hiring. So I mean, wouldn't that be kind of fraud? I mean, they know that they're not.
Well, Midas. I mean, there's nothing stopping you from becoming a police officer and arresting transgender people for this and going through the court system. You could do that, right? There's nothing stopping you.
Why are most mass shooters transgender?
I don't know if that's a true statement.
Look it up. There was a guy in Brooklyn the other day who was stabbed by a transgender, and the news had the nerve to call him a woman. You believe that? And they never retracted it. And at the same time, the guy was stabbed, and they hit it up in the news. He was the father of a child. He was a post office worker, a regular, average, everyday guy, stabbed by a transgender who was supposed to be in jail because he was already convicted of a previous crime. But because of the soft crimes in New York, he was allowed to keep roaming the streets and terrorizing the streets.
Okay, so I'm looking at, I asked ChatGPT, are most mass shootings transgender? And the answer is no. Most mass shooters are not transgender. Data indicates that the vast majority of mass shootings in the United States are committed by cisgender men. According to a 2023 Reuters article, there's no evidence to suggest that transgender individuals are disproportionately responsible for mass shootings. Similarly, a USA Today article from the same year reported that incidents involving transgender or non-binary shooters are exceedingly rare. It's important to approach such topics with accurate information and to avoid perpetuating harmful stereotypes.
How is it a harmful stereotype when we just had a serial killer cult, the ZZZM group, who were running around killing regular cisgender people? I think they killed about 9 people, right? It was a group of 9 people who killed about 9 people. Well, how is that now a stereotype for saying exactly what quite a few, it seems, transgenders are doing? I mean, transgenders are only about less than 1% of the population. Mm-hmm. Why so many of them are being seen committing murders?
Okay, so I asked ChatGPT, how is the stereotype harmful? And the stereotype, it responded, the stereotype that most mass shooters are transgender is harmful for several reasons. One, it misrepresents reality. The vast majority of mass shooters are cisgender men. Falsely linking mass violence to transgender people spreads misinformation and distracts from evidence-based approaches to addressing gun violence. 2, it fuels discrimination. This stereotype reinforces stigma against an already marginalized group. Transgender people face higher rates of violence, harassment, discrimination in healthcare, housing, employment, and education. Associating them with violence worsens their vulnerability. 3, it diverts attention from real causes. Mass shootings are complex events, often involving a mix of factors like access to firearms, mental health, domestic violence, and social isolation. Scapegoating a small minority group ignores these real contributors and undermines a serious policy discussion. And 4, finally, it increases the risk of targeted violence. Publicly blaming transgender people for mass violence can incite hate crimes and increase the risk of assault or murder against trans individuals who already face a disproportionate high rate of such violence. I think that was well worded. What do you think, Midas?
I think it's the usual glazing of the news over serious topics. This was tweeted out by one of our political leaders. The Colorado Springs shooter identified as non-binary. Denver shooter identified as trans. Aberdeen shooter identified as trans. Nashville shooter identified as trans. So we're seeing that there's a rise. And then I also add in the other ones which aren't even in this list. You know, there was another guy who I think was a gay bar shooter, and he himself was also non-binary. So here are you, well, from what I'm seeing, there's so many people that we can see within this demographic that are committing these mass murders. Isn't that because these people don't know what a woman is and they're trying to lie to themselves every day, that they are then perpetuating some kind of mental illness and then going in the streets and using violence in order to I guess, show their mental illness?
Give me 2 seconds here. So, the Newsweek article that you referenced discusses claims about an alleged increase in mass shootings perpetrated by transgender individuals. It highlights that while there have been a few incidents since 2018, these cases represent a very small fraction of the total number of mass shootings in the United States. Experts cited in the article indicate that transgender individuals are not overrepresented amongst mass shooters. This perspective aligns with the data from other reputable sources. For instance, a Reuters fact check found that the vast majority of mass shootings are carried out by cisgender men. Similarly, the Washington Post reported that nearly all mass shooters are male, with only a minuscule percentage being transgender. It's important to approach such topics with accurate information to avoid perpetuating harmful stereotypes. Falsely attributing mass shootings to transgender individuals can contribute to discrimination and divert attention from broader issues associated with gun violence.
And that's the problem, right? A lot of this stuff is posted in response to news coming out that so many of these people were trans. And once they started getting into the news, they started covering it over. So the older you get back into the links, you'll see that there's a direct correlation between mass shooting and transgender mentality. Because of the fact that transgenders only represent 0.6% of the population, I still believe if you have about 3 or 4 mass shooters, that's way overrepresented. And they're trying to say that you have 646 or so mass shootings. I mean, is that really representative of what we see in the news? Inside the news, we have the major mass shootings that we see are usually perpetuated by transgenders.
What you're saying is...
Let me just finish off, right? The NationalReview.com in 2024, they did this article. Now, the rest of it is behind a paywall. Why the rise in trans shooters is to address the rise in trans shooters. I'm not making this up.
Okay, so this explores two theories regarding mass shootings by individuals by identifying as transgender. However, it is essential to contextualize this discussion within a broader statistical set of data.
People don't even think
Comprehensive analysis indicates that transgender individuals are not disproportionately represented amongst mass shooters. Do you agree or disagree with this statement, Midas?
This is so funny.
What's the statement again? I was trying to get some more links for
Okay.
about how all these.
There's none of the articles that you have submitted indicate that transgender individuals are disproportionately represented amongst mass shooters. They are an overwhelming minority, Midas, when looking at all mass shootings.
So this is the link at the top for the Covenant School, right? And the transgender school shooter who gunned down 9 people in an attack on the Covenant School in Nashville in 2023 picked her target because she feared being overpowered and basically figured that little kids were easy targets.
Okay.
Right?
This does not. You're not responding to what I just said, Midas. It's like you're not listening to me at all.
Well, this is the thing. I can't listen to somebody who's trying to ignore that there's so many trans involved within some of the more massive school shootings that we've seen across the years.
I'm not saying they're not involved.
Mass shootings across the years. I see mostly about maybe 5, 10 that really get big. And this is
Midas,
3 days ago we get this information that it was.
I'm not saying what you're telling me I'm saying. You're not listening to me, like at all.
Hi, Midas. This is Doge. Can you put me in the queue after Stephen is finished? Thank you.
You can go now, Doge.
All right, no problem, Doge.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Stephen. No, wait.
Yeah, go ahead.
Stephen, do you realize that if you have so many of these shooters being represented by transgender, there's a problem, right?
I hold the view that any mass shooting is a problem. Whether it's man, woman, transgender, whether it's a panda bear, any mass shooting is a problem.
Right, but if these people are having a greater representation among the I guess more vicious mass shootings, right? Then it needs to be addressed, shouldn't it? Or should we?
All mass shootings are vicious. There are no non-vicious mass shootings.
Well, these are the biggest ones we know of during our years. So this Covenant shooting, this is one of the biggest stories we knew of, right?
No. Would you like a breakdown of the largest mass shootings, and then look at whether they're
so this is one of them, though. This is one of them in 2023, just the other day.
Oh, you know what? Actually, Midas, let's break it down. I'm gonna give you a list of mass shootings, and then also whether the perpetrators are cisgender or transgender.
Tell you what, Stephen, you hold on, bro, because I think you're going through it a little bit. But go ahead and
I'm just responding.
No, you can hold on.
Yeah, go ahead. Put me in the queue. Are you finished, Stephen?
I'm finished.
Yeah, I'm certainly done. I'm gonna get the data. I'll be back.
Cool. Are you coming back to the room, or are you going to come back to the conversation?
I'm just gonna be on mute. I'll be here.
Oh, cool. So, Midas, I mean, do you want to talk about, would you like me to talk about the title? Would you like me to talk about Stephen, about cisgender, trans? Like, what is it you're kind of looking for in your quest and search for information, Dr. Midas?
Well, Stephen was saying that he was making up his own religion, right? And I asked him, according to his religion, what's the difference between a man and a woman? And he basically said that his mother could be a man who thinks she's a woman and she feels like.
That
was the problem, right? And then he started hiding the fact that transgenders are from what we're seeing inside the news, they're, from my perspective, and from many other people's perspective, overrepresented within mass shootings. But from your perspective, Doge, where does all life come from? Who's your God?
The source of all life is now, of course.
Who's your God? What created all things?
Well, I'd like to think that, the source of all things is technically a compression called the now.
That doesn't answer the question. And therefore, if it's just a now, I mean, right now you can hop out a window, right? If you have no word to go by, no reason to live, no understanding of why you were created for, then what's the sense of even living? Or why not take extreme risks, like hop out of a plane without a parachute?
No, the purpose of living is always now, of course. As generally right now, I feel that any question you ask me right now, I might just respond with the word now.
Well, it seems to me that you're quite the imbecile.
Well, right now, or always, or the past, or the future. What do you think? I'll be an imbecile forever, Dr. Midas?
No, I mean, you just said that you were only going to respond with right now, right? And then you added on to that. But you're just supposed to be an imbecile for right now. I don't know. You keep up with your own concepts, your own logic?
I'm curious whether Midas thinks Doge is smarter than me, or if I'm smarter than Doge.
I think Stephen is much smarter than Doge, by far. I think Doge is a blowhard who doesn't really study.
Although I'm still incredibly
bad researcher. Yeah, Doge is incredibly moronic, and he covers up for what I consider what we've seen on Clubhouse is somewhat of child grooming, right? So Doge is double whammy.
What? I mean, he is focused on the now. I think he's engulfed in the present.
But Stephen, this is the thing, right? This is the end game of your logic. You'll become Doge in a couple of years, bro. If you keep going down these rabbit holes, you'll start sounding just like him. You need to be careful. He actually started where you started. If you ever talk to him, right? He started as a hypnotist libertarian, right? And in that role, I guess it didn't really work too well for him because he wasn't too good at it.
Wait, what?
You're kind of on the same way.
He said hypnotist libertarian. Do you know the history of Doge?
Well, I've talked to Doge from a while back when he was just a agent. We used to come online and just record people's conversations. Now he just comes online and still records people's conversations and stalks people online.
Okay. I mean, it looks like you're recording it too. His replays are on, so.
I mean, if I'm lying, he's right here. He could tell me I'm lying. I remember when people were on this app saying...
No, I mean, I think your analysis of me as a libertarian hypnotist is fairly accurate, and you're definitely accurate about my, recordings. That's 100% accurate.
Thanks, Doge. I try to be accurate with all of my information. Actually, I am very accurate with all of my information. And that's why so many people on this app are kind of scared to debate me now. I'm going to mess with their money.
I'm so scared.
Well, you shouldn't be scared. I mean,
but wait, Midas, I did actually want to troll you a little bit, if I may. I mean, I find it entertaining that you're actually having this conversation with Stephen, because I almost predicted that this conversation would happen today, that someone would actually have the most polite conversation with you possible, and in the process try to prove some very fundamental things about cognitive brain science, you might say. But the point is, why do you even engage with Dr. Stephen here? I'm a little bit confused.
I engage with everybody who is having the breath of life from God, period. I know a lot of people on this app have mental illness. I like to help them with it, such as yourself.
Got it.
I think you're a lot more deteriorated than Stephen, so I'll give you a little bit more leeway, Doge. A little bit more.
Wow, that's generous. That's compassion, sir. So I guess since I am a mentally ill man and you have great compassion on me, I'm just wondering, what is the difference, according to you, Dr. Midas, between cisgender and trans and, other terminology like that? Because as a 42-year-old man, until, Dr. Stephen reminded me that people use the term cisgender, I mean, I had never heard of the term cisgender in my whole life, and to this day, I still reject it, just like I reject words like gay or trans or any of these terminology. Like, I don't even engage in that type of communication with people. So I'm just wondering, if you're a man of God, why are you actually engaging in this conversation using terminology like this?
But that's an interesting perspective from somebody who actually accepts those behaviors. I may have conversations about the terminology, but you may say you don't accept the terminology, but you do ascribe to their thought process, and you do allow their thought process. Do you have a doctrine against this thought process, whereby you can say, as a such and such person, you should be against what we're saying right now?
Yes, I am against the term cisgender, 100%. I don't want to use it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to talk about the definition, because I think that's all just hypnosis and political propaganda.
You're not understanding the conversation. This is why I say you're so backwards. Where's the doctrine that supports you?
It's called Common Sense, Intuition, English.
There's 6,000 years of scholarship among all peoples. Where is the book or the concept, the doctrine that you can ascribe to that backs you?
Oh, the multiple theories on philosophy, psychology, wisdom-based instruction, education, those types of things, information that I've ingested and I'm compressing back out to you right now. Now.
So you don't believe a man could become a woman, right?
What was your question, Dr. Midas?
Do you believe a man can become a woman?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
You believe a woman can become a man?
No.
What's your gender?
What is my gender?
I think it's pretty apparent.
I'm 100% sure that I am a man. Let me check. Yep, I'm a man.
How you know?
Because I just grabbed my balls. I grabbed my dick and my balls. And that's not profanity now. That's called, what's it called in biology? What are those classes called?
Organs.
No. What? Anatomy class. Anatomy class, ladies and gentlemen. Anatomy proves that there's only two genders.
Am I what?
Do you agree with Doge? That means automatically he's a man. And therefore
I was just saying that
even have the concept that he's a woman.
Agenda is it's on his profile picture. I think that sums up his agenda pretty well. I mean, look at it's one of the greatest profile pictures I've ever seen.
Yeah, but you shouldn't straw man the argument. What do you believe about if a man?
You believe that statement was a straw man?
He has a yeah. I mean, it's fairly fine. He said that he's a man based on that criteria. Do you agree with him?
Do I agree with Doge? On some things, yeah.
But you don't agree on that point. Therefore, you have gender dysphoria. What makes you a man, or are you not a man?
I'm a man.
How do you know?
I meet the definition.
Okay. What's the definition?
Which one?
Yeah, she's getting bad, yo. And
Do you want mine,
right,
or do you want
the conversation with
do you want the dictionary.com definition? Or
this is the kind of like deflecting conversation I get with the.
I don't think it's the conversation you want to have. I think this is the Longmont Potion Castle podcast, and you're being prank called right now, Dr. Midas, and you're not aware of the prank call.
I'm not really bothered by it. I've talked to you before, Doge. I know about all your Jewish lineage and the fact that you work for the CIA or the FBI, whatever. You come online with your little crappy wannabe clown show. I already know about that, Doge. And then covering for bullying a 14-year-old boy, bro. That's too much for me. That's too much for me. So I just don't think
what should I have in my new religion? What should I include?
A
brain.
The tax write-off, you're right. Something is a tax write-off
Yeah,
operation.
bro, like Wizard of Oz. Just pop out with some smoke and do a hallucination with yourself inside of a little ruby hat, and then you can pop out. I mean, all you guys are just witches in the end. You have no concept of creation. You can't stand on anything. You don't have no word to stand on. You're just basically illogical individuals. And this is the thing. Doge doesn't think that I have these cool conversations with people on a regular basis. I don't have cool conversations with people who run and cry like dogs when you try to pin them to a point.
I cry
And
like a
this
dog.
is a pathetic thing I find about y'all people. Yeah, most people cry like dogs when they start running.
Wait, there's so many different types of dogs. What kind of dog do you cry like?
Chihuahuas.
I mean, Midas, it's not something personal against you. We're just trying to essentially create comedy content. And, you're our useful idiot, but you don't see how you could be a useful idiot because you're so vain and narcissistic, self-centered and egotistical in your way of thinking. It's an opinion piece.
Oh, none of my ideologies and stuff come from myself, brother. I give all thanks to God. So if you're saying I'm narcissistic, that means you see yourself as below me. It means you see yourself as below me, brother. I have nothing to do with your own self-esteem on how you need to work on that. But thank you for thinking that I'm higher than you, but I'm not, brother. I'm the same.
No, I'm saying you can frame it that way if you want, but when you say words like self-esteem,
No, but I don't have to frame it anyway. I just said it. So why do you have to try to misinterpret what I'm saying?
You don't understand. We're filming here. So in the future, people will look on this video and they'll say, what is all this about? And I'll say, it's really about nothing. It's like the Seinfeld show. It's the Three Stooges, technically. You're one of the Stooges. You just don't know it.
Well, basically,
I'm one of the Stooges too. We are two of the Three Stooges.
I can't really say to your Stooges because of the fact that you know that you can't win an actual conversation or actual logic. You have no actual logic.
See, you just got an
Midas claim to be the winner.
Midas, you have an undeveloped sense of humor. It's called self-humor. You've never actually really explored this part of yourself. But I want to thank you for being one of the Three Musketeers today.
Thank you, Imagination Warrior, for joining this room and providing about the world with no facts behind it and trying to say that you were intellectual and brought a superior conversation. Thank you so much for you nut jobs for joining the room. You are now dutifully entertained by the Imagination Warriors of Clubhouse.
You're welcome, Midas.
This is the interesting thing. They've done nothing but reflect. They have no basis. They have no concept.
I know, but you're projecting to us Imagination World. That's what you're doing. You're not aware of what you're projecting.
I'll just watch Willy Wonka and the Chocolate.
That's more like it.
That's a great movie.
No, if you have nothing to back you, bro, I mean, it's just ridiculous. At this point, I mean, you're just silly individuals.
You're projecting, Dr. Midas. Don't you see that? Everything you say is a projection.
Should I refer to Doge as Dr. Doge?
Everybody's a doctor on Clownhouse, Dr. Steven. Welcome to Imagination World, where Midas projects his imagination onto everyone else.
You want to actually see if you can salvage some of your balls as men? You want to do a scientific debate?
I don't know. Midas does not understand what science is.
What is science, Dr. Steven?
Tell you what, are you a round earther? Do you believe in the round earth theory?
Are you asking me or Doge?
Either one, it doesn't matter.
Yes,
I'm highly confident.
Confident. It's round, definitely in essence. They call it a geoid.
So how does water, or body
it's not,
of water, or
it's
mass
not
of water,
completely a sphere,
stay outside of a container?
but it's very close. Very close to a
How
sphere.
does the mass of water stay on the outside of a container?
It's called gravity, Dr. Midas.
What is the equation for gravity?
E equals mc squared.
That's not true.
Yeah,
No, that's true. E equals mc squared is the theory of gravity.
Gravity equation, Doge.
It is a gravity equation. It's a compression. It's a compression.
M equals mass.
I know energy equals matter squared.
It doesn't include gravity at all in that equation.
You don't know what the C variable stands for, sir.
I do. It stands for the speed of light.
Well, there we go. Cool. We're in agreement. Are you in agreement, Dr. Midas? Can the Three Musketeers go on their merry way yet?
Wait, do you Stooges agree? Do you really agree? Or are you just using your imagination again? What is gravity?
I just told
I'm
you.
pulling up. This is it. Okay, so the force of gravity equals the gravitational constant multiplied by the mass of mass 1 times the mass of mass 2, all divided by the distance squared. That is the gravitational force.
That's what you learned in school? That's what you learned in school?
So what does ChatGPT says? What does ChatGPT say that?
Thrown out? Why was it thrown out? Wait, hold on a second, Doge. Why was it thrown out in 2022 and it's now quantum? Are we Avengers?
It wasn't.
Spider-Man, or
it was never thrown out. No.
No, it was totally thrown out, bro. They said it doesn't work with the AI models. It's not accurate. And I think ScienceMagazine.com said that theory of relativity is wrong. That's what it said.
This isn't the theory of relativity.
So you're not dealing with quantum?
No. No, the gravity equation does not deal with quantum.
What? Are you sure?
Yeah, sure.
You know, Dr. Stephen, I think if this hold on a second, Dr. Midas. I think if this conversation has proven anything, is that Stephen is one of the most polite and gracious trolls I've seen in a while. Congratulations, Dr. Stephen.
Congratulations, Dr. Doge.
Thank you, Dr. Midas.
Although I have to thank Dr. Midas for bestowing his incredible wisdom on both of us. Bestowing his wisdom.
He's beyond stoicism. This man truly is a disciple and a teacher of Christ himself. Midas, how do you feel being such an exceptional teacher of the one true Messiah, of God the Father?
Well, I feel fantastic, brother. And it kind of shows when people say they believe in something, but they don't have any science to actually back it, and they're not keeping up with the science, it shows how much more wondrous and how much more superior Jesus Christ's knowledge and Christ's logic is than the logic of these modern day scientists. So he doesn't even realize that if he's dealing with gravity today, he has to rest upon the concept of quantum and quarks. That's what 2022, the Nobel Prize winners exposed. But I mean, if you're saying that it's still valid, I mean, that means you're going against basically modern science. So
it's not going against any modern science.
Now, Stephen, don't lose that really polite, cool troll vibration you've been projecting. Stay centered. Don't let Midas take you off your balance. You're doing such excellent work here.
I just have to.
Midas, what is the source of your wisdom? Since you're King Midas, what is the source of your wisdom, Dr. Midas?
It's in Christ.
In Christ, brother. Amen.
Yep, I saw that one coming.
Is there something in the word Christ? Like Christ? Is it crystal? Like, what does the word Christ mean to you, Dr.
Why
Midas?
is it that all other religions point to Christ? I mean, even Hinduism, Krishna is a copy of Christ, Abraham, Brahma is a copy of Abraham. I mean, like, why do all religions point to Christ?
I think they're all trying to, point something out. What do you think they're trying to point out, Dr. Midas?
That Jesus is God. And this is the interesting thing, right? So I put up the link at the top if you want to check it out. It's a PDF, Steve, where it shows that the 3 Nobel scientists, they won the prize for showing that Einstein was an imbecile. So, I mean, some people try to keep Einstein alive today, but I really think it shows. I mean, I talked to a lady on
Einstein didn't make the gravity
grandfather
equation.
used to pick him up outside of bars. He was really a drunk who had bad hairdo. I mean, like, why would you think he's a real scientist?
Midas, he didn't create the gravity equation.
Well, Isaac Newton had his first concept of gravity. Then that was thrown out by Einstein with the theory of relativity. Then after that, Einstein was thrown out in 2022. So this is 2025. It's 3 years for you to be able to catch up with what you say you believe in. Why don't you know this?
Have you read this? Like actually read it?
What
Or
you?
you just like find this online? Like you're just like
Some of
posting
them,
it?
some of them do contradict each other, but for the most part,
No,
I have
you didn't answer my question. Did you
the underlying science. I'll give you another link.
the link that you gave me? No. Don't change the link. The last link that you posted. Did you read it or did you just post it?
I just posted it.
Okay. Do you see how that's like not?
Dr. Stephen, you may have expectations which will be
Yeah, I
unfulfilled right
expect
now.
when you post a link that you read it first, right?
Well, this is the thing. I
Is that
already
fair?
know some of it's going to be BS. Already know some of it's going to be BS. Oh no, not really. I already know it's going to be BS. I'm just waiting for you. I'm just waiting for you to try to ask me that nonsense. Then I'll give you the other link that proves that Einstein was wrong. And I'll put it from ScienceAlert.com.
Einstein
I already had the other link lined
didn't
up.
make
So I
the
was just
gravity
waiting for you to
equation.
jump into the trap.
Midas.
Stephen, please. What you're not anticipating is that this room is on replay, and maybe days or weeks or months from now, you're going to look back on this conversation, and you know what? You know what the conclusion is you're going to come to weeks, days, months, years, even from now when you re-listen to this replay. Guess what you're going to come to? Guess what conclusion you're going to come to, Dr. Stephen? Do you know? Any idea?
Dude,
That this was a massive waste of time.
I mean, so why is Doge not trying to say you didn't have the same concept?
So wait, Stephen, please hold, Dr. Midas. Please, let's take Stephen at face value for what he just said. That this is a huge waste of time. So, Dr. Stephen, if that's true, what can you actually learn about this whole conversation? Is it not just a comedy routine and we're just the Three Stooges? Let's be honest.
I mean, it has been wildly entertaining.
So
I do find it. I think the funniest thing about Midas is how seriously he takes himself.
Stephen, can you answer the question? At the top there, it says scientists win physics Nobel Prize for proving Einstein wrong.
Einstein didn't make the goddamn equation, Midas.
The theory of relativity is what they try to use for the concept of gravity. So if you're not dealing with Einstein or general gravity that came from the Einstein concept after Isaac Newton was thrown out, then what are you dealing with?
The equation. Yeah,
Where did the equation come from?
Let's find out. I think Sir Isaac Newton made this equation, but I'm not sure. Where did the gravity?
Does it have an experiment that we could test as well?
Yeah, that's actually one of the most powerful predictive tools of mankind.
What's the experiment?
And we'll do
Where did the gravity? I'm answering your first question. Where did the gravity equation come from?
Are you using ChatGPT now because you realize you got backed into a corner? I mean, you
No,
realize
I just didn't know where it came from. I thought it was Sir Isaac Newton, but I just wanted to check. So, it came from Sir Isaac Newton in 1687. But he built on earlier ideas from Galileo.
Right, but that's why I stated earlier, right? The concept of gravity was taken away, stripped from Newton, and then given to Einstein, because Einstein wanted to get rid of the concept of ether from the periodic table. So at this point in time, that's when we have the concept of gravity as a quote-unquote force. Now, you don't have a real experiment for it, except possibly the Cavendish experiment. But the Cavendish experiment is easily tamperable. If you open the door, you can have an inner stream, which can move the whole. Therefore, you don't have an experiment which will show that water can stay on the outside of a container. Are you keeping up with me so far? Do you want me to go over any little points, or are you okay?
I'm sorry, say that again. I was typing stuff.
Bodies of water require a container.
Yeah. Okay. I agree.
So therefore, round Earth is idiocy.
So gravity is always like there's a container, like in the same way, like if you imagine like a bathtub, right? Like, you know, like the top of the bathtub is like uncovered, right? It's the same way the oceans work, right? There's like the top of the oceans are uncovered. So they still have a container.
Can you cover the outside of a ball or a surface or a container with 75% water? And how would that work?
So all of the water in the world is attracted to the center of the earth. And in fact, all the air in the world is also attracted to the center of the earth. And the gravity equation that I
It's
gave
imagination time for you guys, man. It's
you
just
can actually
imagination time.
accurately.
You have nothing to back it. You have no experiments to back it. And it's truly comedy. I mean, I don't know if I'm the Three Stooges or maybe this is like Johnny.
Would you like a list of
I
experiments?
have like Biff and Bam on the show. I feel like this is Arsenio Hall show. And here I am. I got two clowns on it.
Dr. Stephen, isn't this a perfect example of a density derangement disorder?
I mean, Imagination Warrior. I gave y'all a while to break it down. Break it down for us, Doge. Imagination Warrior. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Midas. I think this is a perfect example of density derangement disorder, meaning that you may not be fully aware of how gravity actually works.
Doge, you have to interact with the conversation. How can water stay on a mass of water, stay on the surface of an object? Go ahead.
I'd actually like to pass the mic to Dr. Stephen to help address this sensitive topic. Please, Dr. Stephen, proceed.
Nice job.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Dr. Doge. So, water has mass, right, Midas?
How can 75% of an object be covered in water? Go ahead.
It's easy. You put water on the surface of the thing, and you make sure 75% of it is covered.
Would that be considered the mass of water? What would be the quantifiable depth of that water on that surface, top and bottom?
The depth of the Earth's oceans is what you're asking for? You're asking for the depth of the Earth's ocean?
I'm looking for a globe Earth representation, right? Do you have anything that can show that a mass of water, as far as 75% of water, at the depth of greater than 1 millimeter or 1 centimeter, is staying on the top and the bottom of the outside of the object? When we hear let's carry water, can you carry it on the outside of the bucket or the inside of the bucket? Like basic elementary school.
I think what you're getting confused by is you're imagining, like if I had like a ball, Midas, I wouldn't be able to just have the water attract, like a big chunk of water attract to the ball because of the gravity of the Earth. If I could replicate this experiment in a zero-G environment, for instance, like free fall, if you did the same experiment on like some sort of really heavy object that's in a plane that's in a zero-G parabola, you'll find that the water sticks to the sphere and doesn't fall off of it. Although, on smaller scales, it's mostly due to surface tension, not gravity itself.
Isn't this all imagination? You're saying you have to go within a zero gravity environment?
No, I'm giving you a falsifiable experiment that you can do yourself. This has nothing to do with a vacuum. You can do this in a vacuum or outside of a vacuum. It'll work in both
Right,
ways.
so you're saying you have to go outside of the Earth's physics to see how the Earth's physics works?
No, you don't. You can do it on a plane.
So you can do this on a plane. Can you see how a ball can have a surface of 75% of it covered in more than 1 millimeter of water in a plane?
Yeah, you can totally do that. Yep, easy.
When was it done?
since December 2019.
I don't know. Let's see if it's ever been done.
Tell you what, I think Chayin, whatever his name is, he wants to jump in and try to help you with this trash idea. So I think you should pass the mic, Steve.
Yeah, I don't understand why this is a trash idea. It's the gravity of the Earth that holds things to it, right? You understand gravitational fields and formulas, right? The larger the mass, the more gravity it has. And then the moon has gravity too, and it revolves around the Earth, and as it does, it moves the tides, the water moves towards where the moon's at. And so it creates a high tide twice a day and a low tide twice a day, which is really effective as far as keeping the tidelands clean, right? Like a washing machine. It's agitating.
What you're doing, Chain, is taking non-related, I guess, observational things and trying to relate it to your concept. What we're trying to do is find the experiment that would prove that water could stay, or massive water could stay on the surface of a ball. I don't know if you heard that part of the conversation, or if you're running from that part of the conversation.
What's the mass of the ball? What's the mass of the ball? That's very important.
It's to the scale of Earth. It's to the scale of Earth. So
Yeah.
it could be small. It could be as big as a house. I mean, can you show us how any water can stay 75% of it on the mass of a ball, on the surface of a ball at a greater depth than 1 millimeter?
What I'm trying to tell you is water has mass, and gravity attracts one mass to the other, right? So what makes everything, you can jump up in the air, but you're going to come right back down because you're going to be pulled by the gravity of the Earth. It works the same on your body mass as it does on the mass of water. Right. Gravity doesn't care whether you're Midas or your H2O. It's still going to attract your mass, right?
James, so are you saying that you don't have an experiment to
It's time.
I have an experiment, Midas. So,
Yeah.
so
Like clear your throat and say, I'm time.
Is it
Hi. I like it.
Are you saying that you don't have an experiment to show this round Earth concept?
Dude, you're living the experiment. Just jump in the air. See if gravity doesn't pull you right back down. And if you were walking around on the moon, you would be able to jump farther, right? How do you not know this? How do you not know this?
You might know better. Are you
Midas.
time? Are you
Midas.
My mother is Ashkenazi, yeah.
We can do this. We can do this pretty simply. Okay. If you take an object, take a pencil, right, and you hold it at shoulder height, and then you let it go, what happens?
Really?
Somebody should smack you around the head until you stop playing with pencils. That's what should happen.
Okay.
The Earth's gravity pulls it, right? Attracts that pencil.
No, I want to hear what Midas has to say. If
Okay.
I take a baseball and I drop it from shoulder height, what happens to the baseball if I just let go?
Right, it will fall, but that's not the same thing that will happen with a paper plane. And then it also deals on density and how the structure of it is. So for certain things, depending on how it's actually counterbalanced by
So you said it would fall.
You have a paper plane with the same mass as a rock, and the paper plane will float, whereby the rock will fall.
Okay, we're going to ignore that. We'll get to the paper plane. But you said everything that you'd hold and release would fall, right? It might fall in a different way, but it would all fall, right? What's causing it to fall?
None of what you're asking, I mean, it doesn't relate to gravity because gravity is just a word. If gravity itself has no real science behind it, and now gravity rests on quantum and quarks, then we can't call it gravity. What goes up must come down. I'll keep it like that, very simple.
Okay.
And I don't think I need a word for it.
What is the thing? Do you agree that things fall down? Do you agree that a force, that is a force?
What is density, Dr. Midas? And do you think you're an example of density?
Don't you dare. We're going to make it simple. Density
I think Steve is a definite example of density. He's not bringing me a bulb or a surface with water on it, nothing like that. He's not even trying to deal with that conversation.
Midas.
He's not even trying to deal with how birds can fly inside a Earth that spins at 1,000 miles an hour. He's not even dealing with that, bro. It's kind of crazy. I just have to now deal with this denseness of the mind.
Yeah, so dense. Is it a force when you let something go? Is there a force that pulls it down?
It's the real self, Rose.
You're pulling me down right now, brother. I think that force is called depression.
I don't know what else to say.
Took the words right out of my mouth, Stephen.
Stephen, again, as I said just a few moments ago, weeks, months, years from now, when you look back on this conversation and you ponder what was the point, and you will already come to that conclusion, maybe your words just aren't uplifting enough. Because if you used uplifting words, maybe you could prove that Midas is actually, very dense, and thus he doesn't understand the concept of density, or what we call gravity.
So wait, Doge, why do you think you can't prove your statement? Why do you think you can't prove it?
I
just actually think
I don't think anybody could prove it to your satisfaction,
I'm
Midas.
making a falsifiable claim
Go ahead, prove it.
that when you let go of things, they will drop.
No, prove the science of gravity. Prove that, let's say you take a ball, a tennis ball, a basketball, or even a stick. What is the core that's going to make the water stick to it? Now I could throw a stake on that bad boy, spin it, and then throw it through the air at 1,000 miles an hour, and the water stays on it. What is that core? How does it work? Where is it at?
If the water wouldn't stay on it, no.
Right, so your gravity idea is not going along with the basic laws of physics or chemistry.
No, that's not that. No.
Basic laws of physics and chemistry is that if you're carrying water, you need a container. I think we all went to elementary school.
Midas, I think that's where you stopped going to science class, was in elementary school.
How do you carry water without a container?
You can have something the size of the Earth attract the water to it. And that will do it. Actually, I was in the flat Earth room earlier, and I proved that the Earth was round, or a globe. I did it with a flight in real time.
See, this is the thing, Dr. Midas, we're kind of laughing at you, and you're not part of the inside joke. What we're laughing about is that you really take yourself so seriously, which is honestly the funniest part of this whole conversation.
I think I'm being laughed at too.
If you're laughing at me, I think you're exposing your idiocy. Because you can't show how water can be moved without a container either.
No, I think it's 100% appropriate.
Wait, Steven, give Doge a second to show how we can carry water without a container. Go ahead, Doge.
I did actually explain this.
Come on, bro. How do you carry water without a container?
You need an Earth-sized object to hold the water.
Oh, you're saying the experiment doesn't work unless it's done to the scale of Earth, and therefore it can never be reproduced?
It's being reproduced right now.
You see, I don't know if you understand Curb Your Enthusiasm, but technically Larry David is like the Shekinah, or the spirit, just wandering the earth, coming across Narcissus.
Enough of that mess. What a hot mess. So can you show us how this water can stay to the surface?
Midas, would you like me to prove to you that the Earth is a globe?
Tell you what, why can't you prove gravity? Why is it that we're still trying to figure out what gravity is? And do you believe that quantum theory?
I don't think we actually know what gravity is.
Do you agree with the scientists today? Or do you
gravity is simply just describing how the forces we observe act on one another, depending on mass and how far away they are. We don't actually know what gravity is, though.
Right, so ScienceAlert.com states that the concept of gravity is now based on quantum theory. Do you realize that quantum theory is just theory?
It's not theory in the way that you understand theory.
Isn't it based on light going through little slits, and therefore you can see the quarks and check how light bends depending on how you see the slits through a piece of paper? Would that be a significant representation of how the Earth works?
No.
So therefore you don't agree with modern science, do you?
I agree with modern science.
You just say you don't agree with quantum theory as far as gravity, and therefore you disagree with the Nobel Prize scientists. And you also disagree with Einstein, because Einstein was the first to propose it, and the Nobel Prize people say, you know what, he's probably correct.
This is how I'm going to describe this to you. Okay, I'm going to try to make this really simple, and you may not listen to me, and that's going to be okay. Okay. This is the best way to describe modern science to you. If I bought a ruler at Home Depot that's 1 foot long, how long is the ruler?
1 foot and a piece, so that you can make sure on both sides of the edges that you still have extra space, so you can make sure that you measure that 1 foot.
Correct.
What you're trying to do is a fallacy. You're trying to equate that to the globe Earth and the fact that you have no experiment to scale to represent your globe Earth, physics or chemistry, and therefore
that's not where I'm going.
It's false.
That's not where I'm going.
It's all imagination, bro. You live in imagination world.
You're not letting me speak.
ChatGPT is your God, and even your God is still a subset of Christianity according to ChatGPT. It's quite pitiful.
Actually, that's a good question for ChatGPT. Is ChatGPT you said a subset of Christianity? Christianity. Have you played with ChatGPT before? Midas, have you played with ChatGPT at all?
Man is much smarter than the AI. I do my own research.
Okay, so it's a yes or no question. It's not a big deal if it's no.
I kept quiet for a minute. According to your fake religion, Solara, right? Your Solara, it bases its principles of age of consent and age of marriage upon Christian values. Therefore, is a subset. Your Solara is a subset of Christianity, created by ChatGPT, and it's susceptible to change due to however the laws change within the society. Therefore, you have no God.
Okay.
Your God is based upon the laws and the original religion of the society.
Okay, let's back up. Yeah, let's back up. I asked ChatGPT. Is ChatGPT a subset of Christianity? And ChatGPT's response is no. ChatGPT is not a subset of Christianity or any religion for that matter. ChatGPT is an artificial intelligence created by OpenAI. It's a computer program designed to generate text and to help people with information, creativity, communication, and problem solving. It does not have beliefs, religious affirmations, or spiritual views. However, it can discuss Christianity or any other religion.
Do you realize that you're contradicting what you said earlier? What ChatGPT said earlier? You said that 18 was a sacred age. Isn't that what ChatGPT said?
No, that's not ChatGPT's view.
You said it was 18 as age of consent was a sacred age. According to ChatGPT, we asked ChatGPT, okay, age of consent is what you said.
I told ChatGPT to invent a new religion.
Right,
and in that religion, I asked ChatGPT to within this fake religion, what is the age of consent? And they said, in this fake religion, the age of consent is 18.
Right, but the only religion that agrees with that is Christianity. What's happening, Colin?
What's up, Midas? I say you're still on the good foot there, buddy.
Colin, I like your
man. I
setup.
got scared.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Maybe we should.
Just now he was trying to say his mother was.
I'm down. I'm always down.
Or a man that could be a woman.
Midas, can a man be a woman? You know how it goes.
He said his mom.
Yeah, you know it.
Bro, I don't know where you're coming from.
You know.
Midas.
Hey,
A
hey,
man
Colin.
can be a woman, Midas. You know my answer to that already. A man
Colin,
can be
making a new religion. What should be included in the new religion?
men being women.
Okay, done.
Mandatory.
It's mandatory that you have to switch genders.
No, not women, just men. Only men can be women. Women can stay women.
So everyone is a woman?
Exactly. What up, Midas, brother? You know you're my boy.
That would
Colin,
definitely.
you said
Because I think like
these devil worshippers, man, they're gonna destroy your mind, bro. They're gonna.
I love how much energy you guys put on this app. It's so fun. When I'm cutting grass, this is great.
But you notice how stupid like non-Christian believers are. Like this brother here is going on ChatGPT, and then ChatGPT tells him, "Yo, check out Christianity for what's the best thing to do." And it's just like, is he backwards? I'm trying to figure out if it was like short bus syndrome or like autism or something like that. I'm not sure exactly what's going on.
I'm asking ChatGPT actually that question.
Let me tell you, I love Midas' uncanny skill to just hide everything back. And you can ask him anything, he can hide back. That's the best part about listening to my book.
I do find it impressive.
What up, bro? What'd you say, Midas?
Yo, I said salute, man. But that's the thing, right? I didn't think there was a connection at first. But when I started going through the studies, I realized all the people who cap for all this stupid pseudoscience don't know what a woman is. They think they know what a black hole in the galaxy is, and the dwarf black hole is so dense. Once you go into it, you're just supernova. It's just like a bunch of homoerotic, you know, like.
Hey, Midas, did you tell him about the toilets in the space shuttle yet? Did you explain it?
Did I tell him about the
I wish. Maybe I feel like I can predict.
The toilets of the space shuttle.
Oh, man, them things, man. They said that they drink the doo-doo water on the space shuttle, bro, on the ISS. They said that the doo-doo water gets filtered through reverse osmosis, which requires gravity, man. It was so stupid. I was just like, nah.
Reverse osmosis does not require gravity.
The 0.01 micron filter for reverse osmosis will tell you differently, bro. It's actual science.
I am so perfectly confident that Midas has no idea what science is.
Bro, Midas, no, stop. Now, don't disrespect my boy like
Colin.
Don't do it.
Colin. You're obviously an accomplished musician.
I love Midas.
I'm quite confident that anyone that enters the room.
I love you too, Colin, man. Salute.
I would put more faith in their knowledge of science than Midas's knowledge of science. Any random person that pops into this space, I will put more faith that they understand science better than Midas.
This is the problem, though. You ran into a credibility issue. You say that you believed in gravity, that you couldn't define what gravity is.
Midas, I'm a mushroom worshipping poker player. I don't think I could have less credibility if I tried.
So tell you what, bro. I just take it back to elementary school again. How can you carry water without a container? How can you carry a body of water without a container?
You need a lot of mass.
So you're saying without the size of the earth, you can't reproduce this experiment, and therefore on this earth,
you could do it in a smaller space, and you need a more dense thing.
Wait. According to the basic laws of physics and chemistry, can we see this experiment, or are you saying it has to be at the size of the earth?
Sorry about that. I was a bit disposed.
Yeah, you can. I mean, you can calculate the gravitational constant if you want using. What was that gravity experiment with the hanging weights?
Cavendish experiment, which is very
very
susceptible to tampering. It's actually more by air currents, and the fact that you have to sit down there and watch it for a couple of hours for it to even move, it shows that it's a false experiment. Furthermore, you can't reproduce it back to back.
It's repeatable.
You can't reproduce it back to back, bro. Therefore, it's not really considered true science.
You can, and many people have, and they do to this day. It's a repeatable experiment.
Due to the door opening and air currents moving the weights.
People have done the Cavendish experiment in rooms where no air is circulating and it still moves.
How do you know that? Were you there?
I was not there.
I was.
But The experiment stated that the room was closed off to air currents.
So even if a room is closed off, are you saying that no air current whatsoever could be present in the room, which would affect the Cavendish experiment? None whatsoever. You're going to have a vacuum room. And where is this vacuum room?
No, it would not be.
Documented.
No, Midas, a vacuum is different than a room that's closed off. This is why I say Midas has no idea. Just truly, I mean, it's
that you have no idea. If it's not a vacuum room, it will still have air currents.
Midas. A vacuum room means there's no, like a room that's a vacuum. It's not like the vacuum cleaner that you have in your home. It means there's no air in the room. A closed off room means that there is air in the room, but there's nothing causing the air to move in the room.
But you can't prove that nothing is causing the air to move in the room, because when the scientist has to open and close the door to check on the experiment, then he introduces air into the room.
You can use video cameras in the room to monitor the experiment.
I've never seen that.
Or
What I see is that the scientists
you can also use a glass window, Midas.
They close it and they go back out.
You can use a glass window.
So you're saying that this experiment, I tell you what, I'll give you your grace. You're saying that the experiment with two weights on a tether, on a wire, right, proves that water can stick to the surface of a ball at 75% with greater than a 1 millimeter rate of depth at top and bottom? Or are you saying that this is
indirectly
seen through the size of the Earth, and therefore you can't replicate it?
I mean, that experiment can show. It's meant to calculate the gravitational constant, G, in the equation. G times mass 1 times mass 2 divided by the radius squared is how you calculate the force of any object with mass. The force at which any object.
According to that experiment, gravity is one of the weakest forces on Earth. So why can't they defy gravity, or can they show us how they defy gravity?
It is a weak force. How to defy gravity?
It's a weak force that keeps the water on the surface of the ball. It's a weak force, you're saying?
I mean, relatively speaking, if you look at if you compare gravity to a magnet, right? A magnet has very small gravitational pull, but it's really strong. I mean, thousands of times more strong in terms of its magnetic force, right? Even millions of times more strong than its gravitational pull. So yeah, I mean, in comparison to other forces, if you look at nuclear forces, they're stronger too.
Yo, Colin, man,
but it's still strong enough to hold water
in the chat.
On the Earth.
Man, Stevie, you know you're full of it, man. You know you're full of it.
All right, hold on. Let me ask a question. Let me ask a question. If gravity isn't real, like you guys say it's not real, and because it's just a theory, and theories aren't necessarily in your book that you can't prove because it's a theory, what is holding the water to the Earth then?
Well, that's where you have to go with the concept that if all bodies of water require a container to be held, that the Earth is not round. It will have to be in the form of a container. That's why I've given the round Earth, the flat Earth theory. Just get a bowl of cereal inside your fridge, and you can make Africa, you can make America, you can make South America over there with the cornflakes, and you got to.
And what theory can you prove that proves that? Since you're saying that because the theory of gravity can't be proven, quote unquote, what theory do you have that can prove that? Let's go theory for theory. What theory do you have?
All masses of water require a container to be moved or to be held.
That doesn't explain it at all, my friend. Because if you have a wet ball of water,
He's asking.
I know what he's saying. I know what they don't answer the question. That's why I asked it that way. Very simple, but he still doesn't answer.
That's why I answered that way.
Midas, how would you test the world is flat?
Wait, brothers, let's not run from the statement. The thing is, all bodies of water require a container to be held. Can you defy this by modern science?
I don't know what to say, Midas.
Is a wet ball a container? Water sticks to a wet ball because of the surface of the ball.
Doge, it makes it so easy to just want to troll him, right?
No, don't do that. No. That's my boy. That's why I draw the line.
Your wet ball is a bad representation because that's just show.
So it's the bowl theory. It's also
the water falls off.
You don't want to know. You want to know why your bowl theory is wrong? Because you can't explain the 24-hour Antarctica explanation. The two can't work. Your wet ball theory, your bowl theory, and the actual 24-hour Antarctica experiment that did happen does not work at the same time.
Actually, it does. Because if you have the concept of being under a dome, right? I'll show you how it works. Being under a dome. Yeah. See, the outside areas will get the sun. The outside areas will get the warmth, right? But the inside area will probably get a reflection of the sun. So therefore, we'll still have 24-hour sun.
Wrong.
But the outside areas wouldn't. But even so, that's something that we would have to go back into. We still have to understand that globe Earth theory is like 100 years old.
No. You see, that's the thing. Let me tell you, that's the thing. I don't mind having our discussion with our theories, what we think it is based on the Bible, based on the bowl, based on the dome. This experiment did happen. This is a physical experiment that we just recently did. And you guys still, up to this point, cannot explain it. You guys are spitting what? Theory. And saying that's the justification. But when other people use gravitational theory, you guys are poo-pooing it away that it's not real. So explain it.
But have you filled the criteria of the base of your argument?
What's the criteria? The base of my argument?
Stick on the outside of the surface. That's the base of your argument.
I just explained a wet ball. I just explained a wet ball. A
wet ball can't hold water to a depth of greater than 1 millimeter. And if you try it, the water will fall off the ball. So can you prove that the wet ball can have a depth greater than 1 millimeter of water on the surface?
I ain't moving the goalpost. You asked a question, I answered it. I can prove water stick to a surface that's not flat. A wet ball.
But see, don't underestimate your intelligence. You're not as bad
until it evaporates.
Tenup does this argument and it's really bad. It makes him sound bad. And every time I ask other atheists if they agree with him, they're like, nah, that sounds too stupid for me to repeat. So I wouldn't suggest you go with a wet ball. I'm trying to make y'all better cult members.
So explain the 24-hour experiment again.
The experiment that I would like to see to prove what a round Earth would work, how round Earth would work according to physics and chemistry. I would like to see water on the surface.
That was
of 1 millimeter.
The agreed consensus experiment by both flat earthers, round earthers, scientists, atheists was the 24-hour Antarctica experiment. That it was not going to happen because the Earth is flat. It did happen, and they can't provide information why.
Well, this is what I was explaining just now, right? If you're in an area like Antarctica, which I would consider being the center of the flat Earth model, and you're under a dome, you'll get a reflection of the sun. The sun will be on the outside periphery of the dome, both left and right. But no matter what, you still get 24 hours the reflection of the sun within the middle of the dome. So I don't really have to worry.
I know. All right, enough. I'm not being serious anymore. Y'all go ahead. I'm going to be me again. Sorry about that.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
Yo, God bless
Midas.
I love you, brother. I love you.
Is the edge, my friend. Dr. Midas. Antarctica is the edge of the flat Earth map.
Well,
I didn't want to do it. Thank you, Stephen.
Yo, this is called deferring of authority. Have you ever been to Antarctica?
The people who you follow have been. They were just there.
I don't follow anybody, bro. I follow science.
Yeah, no, you don't.
Yes, I know. That's why I know that water can only body of water can only be carried with the container. And you're not able to show how it's not. This is the failure of the entire argument. You ask me how the sun and the moon work. You're not sure how the water works on the earth in the first place.
A man of science.
We'll tell you what. Bring up another scientific argument. Do you believe in DNA?
You are a man of science as the homeless man on the street. You know, yelling the Bible to random people is a judge. He's not.
Easy question.
He's like, I judge people.
Genealogy testing?
You're not a judge.
Do you believe in DNA? I mean, it's just spazzing out now. Do you believe in DNA genealogy testing?
It's so difficult to communicate with you. How do I do it? How can I possibly do this? Why do I do this to myself?
Bro, I just want to borrow credit.
Why do I even do this?
Do you believe in DNA genealogical testing?
Midas, that has nothing to do with whether the world's flat or not. It has nothing to do with it.
You lost that argument. You have a cognitive dissonance.
How?
I'm trying to put the Cavendish experiment to prove that water. I mean, please don't curse on the stage, bro. But you try to use the Cavendish experiment to prove that water can stay on the surface of a ball at 75% with greater than 1 millimeter depth.
Midas.
And that doesn't make any sense.
Midas.
You're sounding ridiculous.
Midas, I'm going to ask you a couple simple questions. Okay. Is it true that the Gleason map is like the flat Earth map? Is that the map you use? The map that's in my profile picture?
I apologize, guys. I'm back. I was just walking my fish. My bad.
I'm glad. I'm about to walk my fish here pretty soon.
This guy's freaking out, bro. He can't prove that water can be carried without a container, and he's literally freaking out on the stage. He's trying to pull up some kind of stupid picture in his PTR. I think he's having a mental breakdown. This is why I keep saying, every time you go against Christ, man, you go into a nervous breakdown. You guys have mental illness.
Midas, do you use the Gleason map as the flat Earth map, or do you use a different map?
I don't use any map. When I refer to the globe, to the flat Earth, I use actual science to deal with the shape of the Earth and how the science of the actual Earth and the physics and the chemistry works with it.
What do you think the world looks like?
I'm not worried about a bowl of soup or a bowl of cereal.
Okay. Does the top of the bowl look like my profile picture?
Why can't you deal with the actual argument? First off, can you show me that water can be moved as a mass without a container?
Midas.
Is that a no? Is that a no? Wait, Stephen, is that a no? Smarty.
I don't believe.
I have the pretentious voice, and therefore you must believe what I say.
Midas.
So, can you give me $1, please, sir? Brother, you sound like
Midas.
Oliver. What's his name?
I'm not asking you for money.
Midas is a nuts. I love it, bro.
Midas. Bro, I'm here trying to take biological and science information from somebody who doesn't even know what a woman is, and he thinks he sounds smart. How can water be moved without a container, bro?
I think we can consensually, we both agree that the experiment to disprove you would be unattainable to do.
Ah, thank you. So you're
okay,
just
so
imagining.
I'm moving on to another aspect.
So wait, you're just dealing with imagination. Wait. So you wait. So you admit
one that's easily testable.
Wait, bro. You're an imagination warrior, aren't you? You consider yourself that?
No, I don't consider myself an imagination warrior. Midas.
Well, weren't you just spinning nothing but imagination just now? If we both know that you can't have the experiment that would show that water can be moved without a container, then therefore everything else you say based on the concept that water doesn't require a container is all nothing but the imagination.
There are many ways to prove that the Earth is a globe. That's one of them, but it's not the only one. So I was going to go to one that's a little easier to talk about.
They gonna maybe play the Temptations, bro. Colin, he gonna maybe play the Temptations. You see?
Bro, it's a Saturday night. I'm down for any music. So the 24-hour experiment explains the globe, my brother.
Yo, I'm telling you, this globe Earth thing, a lot of science we're dealing with is trash. And we know this, right? And they know this. But because of the fact he can't back it, he's actually having like a mental breakdown on stage. He's trying to tell me about.
We understand gravity better than we understand electricity.
Gravity and electricity have nothing to do with each other. Gravity is theoretical science. Electricity is practical science. Do you understand the difference between the two?
I don't, because you're making up the definitions.
What is
theory? I can't be in your brain.
You said you can't prove theory. You can't prove the gravitational theory of water staying on the outside of the surface, right? That's what you said. So that's theory.
I totally could, but it would be. I mean, it would require like.
It would be dependent on people going to Antarctica and taking the picture for 24 hours. That's what it would do. That's what it is.
I mean, they did do that, but people still believe in flat Earth. So I'm not sure what it did or didn't do.
Yo, I love how they really can't explain that. That's the best thing about this app is that people still up to this point. People still on this app, still trying to like brush past it fast enough. But that's why I always just ask the same question.
And Midas just told me that Antarctica is in the center.
And I heard. That's why I didn't. That's why I said I'm gonna go back to this being me. I know. That's my.
Yesterday, somebody told me that.
That's a concept from my viewpoint. But I can admit that's fantasy, right? So why is it your entire globe Earth model, you can't prove how the water stays on the ball?
I'm done. I hit it. Boys, I hit my limit right there.
No, Steven, don't do it, brother. Don't let him win. You just got to join the fort.
Midas, I think there's something you don't understand about Midas, okay?
Oh, I understand. Trust. I love Midas. Midas know me, and I know Midas trust me.
Okay, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do, bro.
Salute, Colin. Salute, man. They can't handle me, bro. This is why they're getting so scared on the net, yo. They're getting terrified, bro. I don't know what's happening. But they have no more arguments for nothing. They don't want to back nothing.
I hear you, Steven. I hear you.
There's no conversation that Midas will have and think that he lost.
Oh, my.
It's not possible, right? It's just literally.
I'm driving, bro. Don't make me crash.
There's not a single situation where Midas is going to be like, you know what? Hey, you're right, and I'm wrong.
Well, which debate have you lost so far? Which debate are you right on? Go ahead.
Midas, you lose all the time.
I've never lost not one debate.
All the
That's
time.
why people who go back to the points of old debates. Furthermore, I debated with Jewish guy, and he went off the clubhouse for 6 months, yo. Colin, yo, this guy was crazy. What was his name? Baal's lawyer, God's lawyer. He went on for Clubhouse for 6 months after debating me. And when he came back on after 2 months, I found him, I hunted him down, and he ran again. Because I just wanted a fact check round. He didn't want to do a fact check.
Midas, we can debate right now, and I'll have Colin be the officiator, right? And Colin will call the debate, right? Colin can define who wins this debate. I have faith that Colin is a
What's the topic, Steven? What's the topic?
A fair. He'd be a fair officiator.
I can be fair, but I can also be bought.
Put your cash up in the chat, Mike. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, let's talk about.
All right, let me pick a topic first. Hold on, let me pick a topic first.
Well, we could do flat Earth. Flat Earth's pretty easy.
No. Was Civil War real?
Was Civil War real?
That's the asking.
What is your stance, Midas, on whether the Civil War in the United States happened or not?
I believe it was a fabrication by Abraham Lincoln, who was a top hat. I think it was a group of Gnostics at that time. And if I look at the photographs of the Civil War, most of the time I see dummies, as far as wooden dummies.
Okay. All right.
Now it's your turn. Your turn. I'm judging. Your turn, Stephen. Plead your case. He made a compelling argument.
I'm not prepared. Give me like 60 seconds to prepare. Is that fair? Is that a fair Fair thing.
You got 60 seconds. Midas, you the man. I'm telling you, bro. I love you so much.
Yo, salute, bro. It's just following the truth. He doesn't have any photographs that don't look doctored. Then you have to wonder yourself, how do you have photographers around a time like that just cooling out, taking a bunch of pictures of everybody just dressed up in regalia? It's kind of ridiculous if you think about it, you know?
Okay. All right. Am I even? Oh, I'm unmuted. Wow, this is exciting. Okay. So let's go to it.
I thought you could be more.
So we have official documents and records from the United States, including the Emancipation Proclamation signed by President Abraham Lincoln at the time. It is a real historical document preserved in the United States Archives. Congressional records and state secession records. An example would be South Carolina's Declaration of Secession are available in public archives and libraries. There are thousands of eyewitness accounts, including diaries, journals, and letters from soldiers, generals, nurses, and other civilians. And they still exist. The primary documents, such as Mary Chestnut's diary from Dixie, and Ulysses S. Grant's memoirs. These were written at the time and give detailed accounts of battles, conditions, and the national climate. We have actual photographs. The Civil War was the first war extensively photographed. Photographers like Matthew Brady and Alexander Gardner took thousands of photos, including images of battlefields, soldiers, and Abraham Lincoln. These glass plate negatives are still housed in the Library of Congress. You can physically visit preserved battlefields like Gettysburg, Anaheim, and Shiloh. And many still have trenches, cannons, and artifacts. National cemeteries and monuments are dedicated to Civil War soldiers. There are newspapers and publications in the Civil War era, like the New York Times, Harper's Weekly, and the Richmond Dispatch. They ran daily reports on battles, politics, and public opinion, and all the original copies are available in the archives and on microfilm. There were census data in 1860 and 1870 that shows the drastic demographic and economic changes due to the war. Military service records, over 3 million soldiers, both Union and Confederate, are preserved in government archives. And every serious historian across political spectrums and continents accepts and studies the Civil War due to its wealth of primary and secondary sources. And I'm happy to provide links to more primary sources if needed.
Right. That's it? You good?
Yeah, I think that's a good start.
Okay, cool, man. Well, basically, when I look at the photographs of the Civil War, most of them were fabricated. Some people are just lying down as far as the dead people. You don't see any actual blood on the scene. And it kind of imitates what we're seeing in Vietnam. It kind of imitates what you're seeing with the fake Holocaust back in the 1940s, what I believe is a fake Holocaust. That's why I used to call it Holocaust, just to keep it clear. But when you start looking at these images, you're seeing that these are just fabrications. So it seems that everybody relies upon the documentation given by people who are getting money through these fabrications to rest on as evidence of the fabrication. And that's what I'm saying. So even when we look at the 1850s know-nothings, that party went away and then became the Native Americans that we see today through television. through cowboy westerns. A lot of Civil War history has been fabricated and maintained throughout our history through Western movies and, historical movies. And I find that our society is becoming nothing but TV junkies. They're not looking at the actual evidence. I have some of the rare historical photos in the top. And I mean, just as you said, I think you lost the debate when you started saying that it was the most photographed war of that time. I thought at that point in time, it was done. Like I said, it's a modeling shoot. And people don't do photo shoots when there's actual danger around. It's kind of like when you watch the Vietnam War and you have a photographer right there at the trip line when they're trying to disconnect the trip line, and you tell yourself, wait, that's going against protocol. They're making a Mission Impossible episode, and this is what basically they're doing. Making Mission Impossible episodes before Mission Impossible was even big.
All right. So, Steven, you got one more rebuttal, and then we'll move on to the next question.
Fascinating. So there's a claim that the photos were fabricated because there was no blood. Civil War photography used long exposure times, up to 30 seconds or more, meaning only still objects could be photographed. Action scenes or freshly wounded soldiers would have been a blur or invisible. Blood dries and darkens quickly, especially on black and white film. Many scenes were photographed hours or days after battles, which is why you don't see red blood pools. So if it were staged, why show bloated corpses, broken wagons, and war-torn landscapes instead of dramatic battle poses? So it's also true that many photos do show graphic realities, including dead bodies, amputated limbs, and destruction. And the Library of Congress and the National Archives have them cataloged, and I'm happy to show you them if needed. So I heard that he said that it was like just a movie set, or it was, like this is like a modeling shoot. In the 1860s, there were no movies. The motion picture camera wasn't invented until the 1890s, decades after the Civil War. The first real war movies came in the early 1900s, and by then, veterans of the Civil War were already old or deceased. Many battlefield photos were taken by Matthew Brady's team using wet plate Call-a-Dawn cameras, involving a slow and difficult process involving glass negatives, portable darkrooms, and dangerous chemicals. Not a movie set by any stretch. The data, so you claimed that the data was fabricated. So that would require a conspiracy involving millions of people across 50 plus years. Soldiers, widows, doctors, politicians, foreign governments who commented on the war and visited the US during the war, and multiple generations of writers. Why would someone fabricate mass graveyards, thousands of pension claims, veterans hospitals, and casualty lists? If it were fake, how do we explain Confederate and Union monuments? And many were erected by surviving soldiers themselves. Corroborating sources makes it difficult, or what is it? So no single person or institution tells the story. The Civil War is confirmed by multiple sources, including diaries from both sides, Union and Confederate, letters sent home by soldiers, newspaper clippings from dozens of states, British and French newspapers reporting on it contemporaneously, grave sites and war hospitals that still exist, physical bullets, buttons, uniforms, cannonballs are are unearthed constantly. The debater is making an extraordinary claim that the war, which supposedly killed 600,000 plus people and transformed a nation, never happened. That kind of claim requires extraordinary evidence, not just doubt or disbelief. If they say it's all fake, ask them, show me the proof that the millions of letters, graves, and battlefield artifacts were planted. Who did it, when, and how?
All right. That any submission, Stephen?
Yep.
All right. Midas, would you like to get one more rebuttal submission, or do I make my determination on question one?
I think
I'll make one more rebuttal. I'll make one more.
All right. Go at it.
Would that give him 3? That would give him 3, right?
Stephen, I don't think you need to give it us. Let him go.
No, I think it's 2 and 2. You said 2 and 2 in the beginning.
I did, but just for entertainment value, I want one more.
Okay, this is the bonus round. Bonus round for fun.
Because I got another.
All right, no problem. He said it required loads of evidence to go against it, right? But this is the thing. If we're dealing with a court situation, this is what we would call fruit from the forbidden tree. So we're looking at the story of the, I guess, Civil War thing based upon Native Americans and this Tonto and all this. But then we realized that the 1850s Know Nothing Party was actually what they called the Native Americans at that time, right? Sitting Bull and all this nonsense was stupidness. And when we look at the pictures of the Native Americans from that time, they were clothed possibly in like bear skins. So this is what we call fruit from the forbidden tree. So once some part is tainted, the rest of it can be also claimed to be tainted. I don't have to have a wide evidence of proof. I just have to have enough evidence of fabrication. And now he also pointed to people who are collecting pension. He also pointed to people who are collecting disability. Very interesting. Because if I wanted to live on the taxes of a government, then it's well and fine for me to write a story to my loved one saying, oh, I'm having this fracture, I'm having this problem, and therefore they will make a statue of me, put me into the halls of history, but I wouldn't have to work the rest of my life according to this document, whether it's true or false. And this is how I'm basically seeing how the world is put together. So if we're dealing with something like fruit from the forbidden tree, where some of it we find with the Native Americans is fabricated, because we all know the 1850s Know Nothings then became the so-called Native Americans of this day. And therefore the story of the Sitting Bull and all that Tonto stuff, that would be trash, in my opinion. But I'll end it.
Okay. All right, we hung a big left there. I didn't know he was going to that road. Stephen, would you like a minute?
For the bonus round?
Yeah. You should say no. I can judge. You can say no.
I just
wait. Hold on. Wait.
No,
let me just stop. Wait, Midas. You gotta explain that because I mean I've been on this app a long time, and you know me, my boy, and I've been following you, and I've been in your room, and I've been against you, and I've been for you, and against you for you. Tell me about tell me about that American Indian story, because I didn't hear that one for you. That's a new one. I gotta write that one down. What did you say about the American Indians again?
It was the third biggest political party in America, called the
No. I still no. I have my time.
Know Nothing.
Wait.
So they were only codified as Native Americans in the 1970s. And if you look at the photographs of them, it was just a bunch of drunk white guys in bear skins. So this is what we have basically with Native American stories. So that Sitting Bull Tonto crap is out the window.
I mean, Colin, let me. Okay, so I want to respond to his pension. His pension argument.
We're back to serious business. Yeah, all
right. He said that pension equals a reason to lie, right? So it's like he's like
not work.
A person that could lie about being a soldier so that they get pension. If pensions were the motive, how do you explain the war itself being staged before pensions were even offered? Pensions were given to millions of families, but those families had already lost fathers, sons, and brothers. Are you claiming that they faked their deaths? of their loved ones for decades. Veterans suffered lifelong injuries, amputated limbs, disfigurement, PTSD. It was called soldier's heart back then. That's a lot of lying just to get back a few bucks a month. And those injuries can be seen in post-war photos and in hospital records. Here's what they can't explain without the war being real. There are battlefield cemeteries with tens of thousands of individual graves, many of which were marked immediately after each battle. Foreign war correspondents and diplomats who visited the U.S. and wrote detailed accounts. State secession documents explicitly referring to slavery and war still stored in their respective capitals. Thousands of letters where soldiers wrote about battle conditions, injuries, hunger, and death, not to the government, but to their own families. And physical artifacts, including uniforms, bullets, swords, artillery, all with manufacturing dates, locations, and battleware that are continuously unearthed. I think, I'm done. I mean, Colin, I'm curious to hear what you have to say. Colin, who is the winner of this debate?
Oh, okay. Whew. I'm back. All right. So thank you both for your submission. I appreciate the concerted effort on both parts. So I think, Stephen, you've brought up a lot of factual information that we can't find. You know, everywhere that we look on the internet, we can go to these places and verify what you're stating. I think, Midas, you have put up enough doubt that they can all, and I say all, be doctored. It's quite a possibility that they have all been in cahoots since the beginning of this country. And finally, because my feelings don't care about facts, I declare Midas the winner of this round.
Thank you, brother. Salute. There was no civil war, brother.
Oh, God. You guys are making my night so wonderful.
Colin, I've never loved and hated someone so much in my entire life.
No, you can't hate him, bro. You just
no, I'm talking about you.
Oh, me? Oh, well.
Yeah, you can't hate Colin.
We can't all win. We can't all win, Stephen. We can't all. Oh, that was wonderful.
Colin.
Yo, but I put the link at the top for the drunk Native American.
What the
fake
fuck?
Native American.
No, the American Indian ones what got me. I mean, I've heard a lot of mine submissions. I could go down the line. Yeah, you want round two? Who wants round two?
No, I don't believe in the judge.
Because I'm too historically accurate, man. He can't debate. He can't debate historical accurate.
I think. I don't know, Colin. I think before our round two, you need to tell us what you're judging on, so that I can cater to your tastes.
Okay. All right, let me. Okay, round two. Let's see. Okay, this is the question. Ready?
No, it's not the question. No, we're not starting for the.
Okay.
The question is irrelevant. Okay.
Okay.
First, you need to discuss your judging standards.
Criteria, my judging criteria.
What you're judging on.
Before we get into it, gentlemen, do you accept that, Stephen, that the 1850s Know Nothing Party is what we consider the Native Americans today? It's right here in Encyclopedia Britannica. I mean, you're giggling like a schoolgirl, Stephen.
Oh, I'm gonna get a heart attack.
Midas. After my devastating loss.
Do you realize that they were immigrants and they were not Native Americans?
Ooh, just concede, my friend. Just drink the Kool-Aid.
Okay, Colin, I need your.
Let's go to James.
Running Bull was probably gay, yo.
Oh my God. Yes, Steven. He was asking to dress up.
What is it? What I need your judge's criteria.
Okay.
Hey, Steven, do you agree yet? Do you agree?
I don't have an opinion on whether
No, you don't
the
have
Native
to have an
Americans
opinion.
were.
The scholars say at the top, it's this Britannica.com.
I don't believe that you have the ability to discern truth from any
Going
source.
against Britannica.com now?
I haven't read it, and I'm not going to waste my time reading it.
So you're saying you're arguing from ignorance, and therefore you're better with your ignorant standpoint than actual informed information? Is that
on this particular point? Yes, I am.
Oh, Lord.
All right, Colin. You need to be specific as far as what you're.
He just said he mad ignorant.
What do you want?
Bro,
Like that's my
why don't you ask
criteria.
ChatGPT?
Yeah, what's your criteria? Because I failed. I failed last round.
Okay, so I'm gonna say criteria 1. My feelings don't care about facts.
Facts.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Criteria 2.
Whoa. Okay. So feelings over facts.
Feelings. That's my criteria. Feelings over facts. Whoever makes you laugh the
Facts
most.
over feelings.
Oh no! You just got it.
See, you trying to twist your words, right? That's what they got to do. They got to twist your words.
Okay. So number 1 is it's feelings over facts. Okay. What else?
No, facts over feelings, brother. Facts over feelings.
No.
So why can't you say that the first Native
it's
American
feelings
were
over
a
facts.
bunch of white
Part
trumpets?
2. Whoever greases the palm the most. I said at the beginning, I can be born. I told you.
Salute, brother. Salute.
Greases.
Nah, but Steven, this is the problem, right? All of your stuff is based on letters, and then you stated that the pension was not a motivation for writing the letters, but the pension was a motivation for the people who stole Harriet Tubman's pension. Harriet Tubman was actually a railroad worker, if you look in the history, and she said she never lost a passenger.
Midas, I lost.
Because he was supposedly in the Civil War, he was supposed to get a pension.
Midas.
They stole the pension. The people who made the story of Harriet
I lost.
Tubman. So you're showing, yeah, but I'm just showing you how you lost it, because you had no evidence to supply to go against the fruit from the forbidden tree. That was all fabrication you did, bro. That whole was trash.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God. Colin, you want to give me a breakdown of how I lost?
Have you accepted the terms of my criteria?
Okay, I only got 2. Okay, so that's
You only need 2.
feelings over facts. Whoever pays me the most.
Whoever greases the palm the most.
Okay,
that's it.
Is that it? But those are equivalent, right?
Those are written.
So Steve, you're supposed to be a rich politician working for the government, man. Send the man a cash app and win the debate.
Colin, did you receive cash app from Midas in the last debate?
Hey.
I sent him $45. You gotta beat me with 100, bro. If you don't beat me with 100, Colin is not accepting.
Were you sent $45 for that debate?
Listen. Our payments is backed by the federal government. So.
Oh my God.
Are you going to back raise the debate or no?
I'm fucked.
You're not that.
Would you like to try again just for fun? What do you want to do? Another question.
I got a good debate. A dinosaur is real.
Wait, okay, so I put whoever pays you the most or calls you. What are there any other criteria, or that's it?
Let's see. I got 2-for-1 specials on Monopoly.
No, it's all about the money. It's all about the money, Steve. $100 minimum. All about the cash.
Okay. All right. Great. Okay. All right. What are we debating about?
Okay. You ready? Who's going first? No, you know what? Mine's went first. You go first next, Steve. You ready?
Okay, but I need to know what.
I'm going to give you the question. You have to give your thing for your submission first to the question.
Yeah.
Okay. Question is, where are the slave ships?
Where are the slave ships?
That's the question. That's the question. I'm telling you. Go. I'm telling you. You want it to be. Where are the slave ships?
Give me a second. I have to look it up.
Okay. All right. While you look it up, Midas.
Wait. No. I got it.
Okay, you got. All right. It's on you. Where are the?
Listen. They're not buried under the ocean. They're not rotting in some forgotten dock. They're here, still moving, still breathing. You know, when you see them when a musician can't pay rent because the world wants free music, you see them when art is commodified and the creators are chained to algorithms instead of sales. The slave ships never left. They just changed shapes. Now, look like tour buses, corporate labels, and 9-to-5s that kill the soul. And judge your music. Your music is freedom. It's resistance. Colin, you are the sound of chains breaking. So I'm not just here asking where the slave ships are. I'm asking, aren't you the one helping burn them down with every note you play? And if you are, maybe this round belongs to the person who sees the world through feelings and not facts. The one that respects the artist. The one who's willing to pay a little more for truth.
Why are you gay?
All right. What is submission? It was good. You try to play my heartstrings. You greased. You greased. All right. Midas, are you ready for your submission, my friend?
I'm ready, brother. I'm ready. My very talented musician brother, who is definitely bringing nothing but heavenly music to the world, man. I'm so glad you have that profession. I hope you keep going well with it until you reach the top, the pinnacle, but you don't have to do any weirdo stuff in order to get your money. I'm so glad for you, brother. But the fact is, there's another problem of the fruit from the forbidden tree situation with this slave conversation. Here we have the Clotilda. It's been found. 4 pieces of wood. And guess who found it? Disney. Actually, Disney Plus. They were the ones who were really behind the finding of this slave ship that was recorded by Fountain Hughes, who say he was 100 years old, and his father died at 115 years old. And he was very interested, I guess, in money and debt. He wasn't too much interested in the slave stuff. He actually laughed about it. And he said a woman didn't believe him when he told him about the story about him being a slave back in the 1930s or 40s, right? Which is very strange. So when we start looking at the slave narrative, why is so much fabricated? Why was Roots written by a white dude? You know, Harold Corlander. I end there, man.
Sorry. Continue.
Nah, I'll just end there, man. It's like fruit from the forbidden tree. Why was so much fabricated?
Okay. Stephen, do you want some time to rebuttal, or was that your submission over?
I have to rebuttal now, right? I guess I'll rebuttal.
Go ahead, brother.
Okay. So, my opponent wants to talk about Disney and the forbidden fruit.
Disney Plus.
Please. That's cute. Like a Pixar short before the real movie starts. But let's be real. You're not some Disney prince waiting around to be serenaded. You're a composer of rebellion. A sonic alchemist. You don't need a fairy tale. You write your own legends every time you touch an instrument. Now, my opponent, they're tossing compliments like cheap candy. But me, I'm singing to your soul, not just your ego. I'm not quoting fairy tales.
This conversation getting way too glizzy, man. What's happening with you, bro?
The forbidden fruit wasn't just knowledge. It was awakening. And guess what?
You just try to bring out Adam.
You already bit into it the first time you picked up your instrument. You don't need a cartoon. You need a revolution. So where are the slave ships? Still sailing in systems that exploit artists like you. But you're the storm coming for them.
Wow, what a submission.
Daddy, do you know where
No, I don't.
Yo, God bless your daughter, man. Yeah, but I mean, I can't debate somebody who's running from the conversation. This is a hot mess. He can't even prove slavery, and this goes to show, right? These people on these stages trying to debate this stuff.
Oh my God!
Colin, who's the winner in this debate?
All right. Okay, Midas give a strong submission as always. He gets points beating Midas, but let me tell you, boy, if there was anybody who greased it, Steven, you greased it, so you definitely won that round based on the other grease you gave, bro.
Wait, I think today goes in history. This is the first time that Midas has ever lost a debate to me. You lost, Midas.
Well, first time I ever lost a debate, period. But I lost it on the Gliz factor, so I don't mind, man.
To lose to the Glizzy is crazy.
This has got to go in the history books. It's one of the craziest debates of all time.
I'm leaving the score at 1-1. I think it's fair to leave the score at 1-1.
Yeah, we can leave it at 1-1. I'm happy with the 1-1. I'm still pretty salty about
losing the first one.
Losing the first debate. As far as whether or not the Civil War happened.
Shouldn't you feel worse that you can't prove nothing you talking about? Shouldn't you feel worse about that? Here you are, you have this entire worldview based on stuff that's just from the imagination of old gay guys. You think it's working for you. How does this stuff help you?
It doesn't. None of this helps me at all. Midas.
No, but it's helping you now because you're actually getting the laugh. You realize how ridiculous and silly you are as an individual. And that all the stuff you believe in was so childish that you have to put it to the side and grow up as a man. I think that's great.
I'm starting to really question if Midas actually believes what he says.
Oh, he does.
He says it with such conviction.
He does, and that's why Moses Noah was what to do. That's right.
After the flood, Noah planted a vineyard, made wine, and got drunk.
No, Stephen, you're strong manning it because you haven't actually read it.
Genesis 9, 20, and 21.
If Noah was made drunk by someone else, right? How would he be charged?
Noah 19 verses 20 and 21. Noah planted a vineyard. He drank of the wine and became drunk and lay uncovered in his tent.
You said Noah 19?
Noah 9, 20 through 21. No, I'm sorry. It's Genesis 9:20 through 21.
Talking to some of these people sometimes, bro. It's just like, where you coming from? There's no book named Noah, bro. That's why I say it's bad research. It's bad actual, like, I feel like y'all went to school and you just saw your them teacher at the top of the class who said, yes, sir, I believe everything you say. And therefore, it's like you kind of in a diminished state right now because grown people are asking you real questions and you can't back what you believed as a child.
So are we in dispute? That's what it said in Genesis stuff?
Oh wow, I can see Doge in real time. Crazy, isn't it? This is like the Matrix.
Right. We're auditing history and science. So, Stephen, why is it that all religions point towards Jesus Christ as as a supreme deity?
What?
Why is it that all modern religions point towards Jesus Christ as their supreme deity?
They don't.
Yes, they do. Show me the one that doesn't. Scientology ain't a religion, man. That's a pedophile cult. That's a human trafficking operation. That's not a religion.
Which religion?
Catholicism is the same thing as religion.
Is it what's the same thing as Scientology, human trafficking?
Catholicism is a religion.
Yeah, some Catholic organizations have been infiltrated by Satan, but we know when they do that, they're going against the word of God, and therefore they can be exiled or excommunicated from the church once they're found to be. And the Catholic Church is one of the biggest anti-human trafficking organizations known to man. And I'm not even Catholic.
Okay. Okay, so you want a list of religions that don't point to Jesus as their supreme being? Okay, so one would be Judaism, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, Sikhism, Taoism, Shinto, Zoroastrianism,
Ready to have your mind blown?
Confucianism, Jainism,
Wait,
Baha'i faith,
let me deal with the first one.
Rastafarianism,
Wait, let me give you the one.
traditional African religions, Native American religions, Wicca, paganism, Scientology is in there, Unitarian Universalism, Humanism, atheism, agnosticism. That's a partial list too. I can provide more if you want.
No, that's fine. So within Judaism, they said that the Messiah is Messiah ben Yosef, according to Zechariah 12:10. Not only that, within Berekat 7:8.3, they asked the question, what does God pray? And it says, God prays that may my judging attribute be merciful. And therefore, when we see the judging attribute, that'll be the angel of the Lord, Genesis 18:2, that met Abraham. That's where you get the concept of how God prays. So therefore, it does seem that Judaism points toward Jesus Christ being the supreme deity. Even if it's in Bible 36 and 37, Sanhedrin 97a, and Sanhedrin 99b. In Islam, Jesus Christ is the one to come back and judge the earth, judge mankind. Sahih Bukhari 34:48. Not only that, it says Mutawafika in 3.55, meaning that Mutawafika means to take in death through a marriage covenant. Right?
You're interpreting your own statement.
I'm sorry, I understand the Arabic. You can keep quiet while I break down all the things you said.
And you said that it was a supreme being.
Yes, Jesus is their God. Right. So if God within Judaism prays to Jesus Christ, right, or prays for Jesus Christ to be merciful, I don't want to disrespect the scripture with the text they have.
I don't know why.
Then also in Sanhedrin 97a and Sanhedrin 99b, they also have text showing that Messiah ben Yosef is the chosen Messiah. They don't have two Messiahs being prophesied. Even though they try to segregate Messiah ben David from Messiah ben Yosef because they're imbeciles. Now, within Islam, Jesus Christ is their supreme deity. He comes back to judge, and only God can judge. Sahih Bukhari 34:48. Hinduism, Krishna is a copy of Christ. And they try to solidify their timeline with carbon dating. But carbon dating, they're even refuting it. And the reason that they're refuting it is because they're too greedy. They're trying to take it back further than the time it is. But really and truly, it's further ahead and not further back. If you actually understand that they're copying from the New Testament and the Old Testament to create Brahma, who's a copy of Abraham, and Krishna, who's a copy of Christ. And in Buddhism, they also claim Jesus Christ. Rastafarianism, they have a Nazarene vow. The African religions that you claim to be African religions, Voodoo, Hoodoo, Santeria, those are all based upon the 6 and 7 books of Moses, and those still go back to Jesus Christ. So can you show me some agnosticism? If you want to say agnostic, then you would have to say, do you believe that children can be molested? Right? Or that men can be homosexual, or that you can be transgender. And if you don't believe that, and that these things are adversarial to man according to the stats, statistics, and the facts, and the psychology studies that have been done, therefore you can only go back to Christ, because all the other religions allow the rest.
I think this is a good note to say goodbye. Midas, I don't think I've ever met someone that's so confident and so wrong at the same time.
Wait, what am I wrong about? Go ahead.
What are you wrong about?
You see, this is the thing, right? The buffoon comes.
What are you wrong about?
He speaks from ignorance, and then he talks about, oh, you're wrong. I'm ignorant, but you're wrong. What am I wrong about?
I mean, what are you right about?
See, this is the problem, right? When you make a statement, you should be able to back it. It shouldn't just be from your imagination. You're wrong, Midas. No, this is what you did with your entire conversation.
You're wrong around the Earth shape.
This is why
you're
you
wrong around
worship mushrooms.
Whether or not the Civil War.
What did I say that was wrong? What did I say that was wrong?
You said you don't believe the Civil War happened.
I just had a whole statement about the Civil War. We went through that debate. We passed that. Now we're on to the nature of God being the root of all these other false religions. Can you keep at that point, or are you having a mental problem?
Yeah, you said that Jesus, not God, is the supreme being, and that's not true.
Which doctrine supports you?
What doctrine?
A man with no book is like an illiterate. Go ahead, Arvin. Welcome to the stage. How's it going?
Welcome to this gigantic waste of time, Arvin.
No, just let's see. I don't think it's a waste of time. I mean, if it's Midas is willing to open to a sincere discussion, So you're saying Jesus is supreme being, Midas?
Yeah, even for the Hindus, Krishna is a copy of Christ, and Brahma is a copy of Abraham. So even if you want to say that Christ came before, or after Krishna, you can't say that Abraham or Brahma came before Abraham, or the concept of Abraham.
It's okay. No need to explain yet. So, do you believe in Trinity, Midas?
Yes, the Bible tells me so. Do you read the Bible?
But no, God is supreme being. Jesus is just one of the three, though. You know what I'm saying? You can't say Jesus is the supreme being. It's just one of the three.
Before we engage, because you have an opinion, what is your religious belief?
Well, I believe Jesus, the person that walked the earth, limited in time.
Brother, I think you understand what I'm saying. I don't want to hear somebody who's scared to say what their belief system is. Come on, you have to be a grown man. What is your religious belief?
Oh, I'm a Muslim.
Oh, okay. So Jesus is your God, right?
Jesus is a prophet of God.
No, I mean, like, only God could judge you, right?
What does that mean? We can judge each other based on the law that God is giving us. If you want to talk about judging each other, hell yeah, we can judge each other.
No, but I mean, in the end days, only God can judge, correct?
Of course, in the end, only judge will will judge us. Only God will judge us based on what we've done. Yeah.
And only God could create, right?
Of course. I mean, only God can create. The God of Abraham only can create. No one else.
And see, this is why we can clearly see that Muslims have cognitive dissonance, because Jesus Christ creates within your Quran, and he's also the judge within Sahih Bukhari 34:48. Not only that, if you go to 171 of your Quran, it shows that Jesus Christ is his word, Allah's word. So if you're saying that Jesus is the word of Allah and that Allah was separated from his word, you have multiple gods. You have one who's on earth, who is Jesus Christ, the word of Allah. And then you have Allah. And Jesus was then rejoined with Allah. And is he rejoined with Allah right now?
One point at a time. So what did Jesus create?
Play birds into birds.
With the power of God, anyone has the power to create. I mean, Jesus healed with the power.
Wait.
By my own.
You just said the only God can create. So are you saying God can give you the power to create?
No, you understand. If you fashion birds from clay and then he gives them life with the power of God, he healed with the power of God.
Who else had that power?
You don't understand. The power is not intrinsic. He doesn't have power on his own.
Who else did it?
Anyone that God allowed.
Wait, Abraham did it, right? Or Adam did it? Did Abraham do it?
You still don't understand the concept of who makes miracles happen. It's God that makes miracles happen. That's a miracle in that sense.
But no, I mean, you just said only God can create. Then you said Jesus can create. Now Abraham can create.
I didn't say Jesus.
Allah the best of creators, or is Shaitan a creator too?
Philippe Shaitan. No one creates anything. No one has the power to create nothing. You can't even move one molecule from its original place. Imagine that. No one. Only God.
So you don't know your deen.
No, I know the New Testament.
Well, let me give you an easy question. Because I realize you don't know your deen. Right? What's the name of Allah? What's the name of Allah?
Don't jump from one thing to another. Stick on point. Let's think about.
Okay, we're just going to stick on this point right here. On this point right here. Don't worry about Jesus, because you can't understand what Jesus said. Jesus is the judge. Not only that, Jesus is with Allah right now.
By my own, I can do nothing. By my own, I can do nothing. Jesus said, only by the will of God. This is in your New Testament.
Don't crash out. What is the name?
No, but don't jump. Stay on point.
I'm not jumping. What's the name of Allah?
You just said it, Allah.
No, that's not a name. Allah,
that's not the name.
Back when it was called back in the no, Allah means God. If you want to do a translation, it's not an actual name. What is the name of Allah?
What's the name of Allah? Allah has a name. It's Allah. I mean, there's other names like the Merciful, the Creator, the Judge.
That's like saying your God's name is God. Do you realize that?
No. The name of God is Allah, and this is very unique. It has no gender, has no plurality. It's a beautiful name, and that's how I call my God and the rest of the Muslims. You keep asking what's his name?
Is a transgender?
No, I say it doesn't have a gender. This particular name, Allah, it's not feminine or masculine. It's a unique name he has.
No, it's not a name.
Allah.
It's not a name. See, when we go back in the older scriptures, you're supposed to go by the people of the book, right? And the people of the book,
no,
the people of the Torah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I mean, that's how you figure out.
No.
Yeah, that's actually what your book says. All right, we'll tell you what. 183. Why are you?
I don't go by it, so I don't know what you're putting that for.
Well, Arvin, let me ask you a question. Are you fasting right now, or did you fast from Ramadan?
Yes, I did fast.
Why did you?
It's like you have a script. It's like you have a script you go by. You don't listen
to
what other people say.
Why did you fast?
Because we are ordered to.
Yeah, but why?
What do you mean why? Because we are ordered to. Because we are ordered to.
According to 2.183 of your Quran, it states you're fasting because the people before you. Who are the people before you that were fasting around this time?
All the previous Muslims, like Jesus, Abraham, his sons, all that stuff.
How was Abraham a Muslim if there was no Shahada until the 12th century?
Of course there is a Shahada.
Where's the Shahada in the Quran?
I'm telling you, if let's all look, Islam makes sense because
is Shahada in the Quran or the Sunnahs? Is Shahada in the Quran or Sahih Bukhari?
Okay, of course the Shahada is in the Quran.
What's the?
Of course. No, it's like the Quran calls you to believe in one God. His name is Allah.
What's
And
the
the
verse?
Quran.
What's the name of your God?
Let me
Because Abraham in
finish.
the old text he called to Yahweh. So what's the name of your God?
Yahweh is not the name of God. You don't even know that much. Then I don't know what I'm wasting
But
time with
Allah
you.
is not the name of God. Allah is like
Yahweh is a
God,
place
name is
of
God.
heaven.
Allah is a translation for God.
Jews don't have the name of God. Listen. At least learn something. If you don't know something, learn something.
What up, Nat? We're about to do a Doge. is I have a place to live the rest of my life. Plus, I don't pay property taxes here, so let me make you a cocktail. Good grief. This place keeps going. You know, let me show you. Yeah, it's like it's a big blessing. I mean, it's been good. It's dishwasher, espresso, yeah. I'll give you the sewer with all the artwork. That's 10 grand. First, they'll make you one of my famous beer houses. You should go on. Ramen. Mostly like omelets. It's just like it's shit's so gross. How do people eat that shit? You can't believe I liked it as a kid. I don't know. You make me boil. I boil it, yeah. Make it creamy. Yeah, you can make it good. I mean, I like brown sugar. Chunky. You're a big cream will be. Yeah. So what I do is I make some water out of life with OJ, and then I sprinkle cinnamon on top. Ooh, it is damn. And it's like, it's not too hard on the body because it's just like beer. But you get the sugar and foam, and it makes it very nice. It's cheap as hell, and it's not, you know, you're not drinking about it. You're not drinking pure whiskey. This is like an old jacket. It's like hops, right? Yeah. I have to take it first so we can get the rest of the beer. All right. Yeah, Brandon. I mean, you know, King Castle, but like lots of things that you can fix and change. But dude, this place is just as fun. It's such a like difference from your old place. Like more space, but it's the same. People stay there a little bit like the same. I don't know, like a joke or something like that. But let me show you this.